Wasabi. Wasabi.
1 second.
Reporting to you with no bias. Informing you with no exceptions. Nothing but the facts. Let's get the truth together. We the people. We the voice. We the news now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Really Woke Reports live with myself, Roxanne, the Globalist Denier, 007. And tonight, our two highly esteemed guests, Noel Harry Watson and Hoodly Daddy Bear. How you doing, darlings?
Awesome. Better than the UK, apparently. You guys are like a week and a few days ahead of us, I think, in this area.
It's been a crazy 24, 48 hours here in the UK, man. But I'm glad to hear that you're doing all right, because it seems to be a bit of a domino effect. Not everyone's suffering the surge at the same time.
Right.
So first and foremost, you're all right. You're standing. Noel, how are you doing, darling?
Not so bad. It's getting a little bit more serious out here. I'm now seeing everyone wearing masks, although I haven't yet seen anything like police or army. I'm seeing, the spacing between queues. The schools are definitely shut for until mid-April now. People are still working from home. I think things like construction might still be happening, because I saw a lot of guys returning home from work this afternoon. But otherwise, I think everything else has stopped.
Okay. So you've been at home all day? Are you in quarantine?
We
now?
went out for a little walk. She wanted to ride her tricycle, and I wanted to get some supplies, but we ended up just riding this tricycle because everywhere to get supplies was closed.
Okay. So yeah, you can go out, but there's nowhere to really go other than, a little walk.
Go. I mean, there's still people in cars and stuff, but most people are looking pretty paranoid. Bus stops of big gaps between people. People are starting to mostly. I'm not picking people by race, but it's mostly Asians. We have a lot of Asians in this area, and I think they were, psychologically tormented with SARS, weren't they? So they already have that program in. Mm-hmm. I've seen some of the elderly wearing face masks, or mostly things like those little silk scarves that people buy people for presents. Mm-hmm. I've seen more of those than I've ever seen in the past 2 days.
Okay, but other than that, you're okay. Baby girl's okay. Grandma's okay. Everyone's okay. So far, so good.
Everyone family-wise, as far as I know, doesn't even have a cough. I mean, her mom's been ill for the past week, but I think she actually has what I had the week before, which is just like a cold, and went away fine.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll all go okay. And to all of you in the chat room as well, Paul Barbacano, Dividante, Jesse Enns, Astro King, it's lovely to see you all in there as well. And One Walking Life, we're going to get to you in a minute. Rich, are you there, darling? I can see half of you. I can see a little bit of half of you. You're just sneakily on the side there. Right.
I'm just sneakily on the side. I'm trying to getting that video just finished and uploaded. I've sent the the link to you.
I take it that's something to do with the answer for how you are, right? First and foremost, we can see you sitting there, so we know that you're there. You're all right. Has there been any developments since the last time we've been live? I mean, we were only live 15 hours ago, Rich. So what's happened in 15 hours?
I mean, I went out for the first time into the village and just a little walk around, walked Alfie.
Yeah. Can you just tell the chat room where you are, by the way? And I forgot to do that with all three of you. Noel's in Malta, and Hoodly Daddle Bear, can you tell everyone where you are as well? Sorry, I just realised I've gone through everyone, Rich, and not told everyone where everyone is. Where are you, Hoodly Daddle?
United States.
Yeah?
Atlanta,
East,
Georgia.
West Coast?
Atlanta, Georgia, Southeast.
Okay, thank you, my darling. And Double, can you tell the chat room and anyone who's new that's listening where you are? We've got two destinations there. Where are you?
I'm off the west coast of Africa and the Canary Islands on Tenerife, island of Tenerife.
Okay,
so I live in a little village. That's between Santa Cruz and down south, Las Americas. I still live on the east side of the island. But it's I haven't been out in the last couple of days because we were just told just go home, and the only thing you can go out for is to walk your dog and go to the shop. So I haven't needed to go to the shop yet. I'm actually gonna go tomorrow to go and get some food. But I took Alfie out for a walk, and there were people out. There were people doing cabling. Working. I think they were working for I don't know if it was telecommunications or it was something, but they were up on the. I got a little video. I forgot to add it actually to the.
So there were people out there, workers, construction. There was like normal stuff happening as far as it seemed, right?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say construction,
but bits and pieces happening.
But they're up there doing something up there,
right?
To the cables up there, and they were proper. They had their uniforms on and everything.
Okay, so since we were last online 15 hours ago, what's the situation now?
The biggest thing that's happened for me is just having the policia, or it was actually security, I think, were driving around with the megaphone playing. That's in the video. That's at the end of the little video. So it's like 5 minute, just a little less than 5 minute video.
Cool, I'm getting it now.
Because I go into the shop. I go into the shop and we see the shelves.
Yep. I'm going to play it now. If that's all right with everybody, I'm just going to screen share real quick here and just line that up for everybody now so you can all see that, because this is just literally within the last 15 hours. So, oops, sorry, my darlings. Just get that up there. And here we go.
Here I am walking through my village. You can see there's like 3 restaurants here. One over on the far left, you've got Bar Las Maretas, which is a bar restaurant. That's closed. Next to Bar Las Maretas, you've got there's a barber shop coming up. He's always open normally, so he's closed. And we're going to come up to another restaurant here, and it's got a sign on the door, and I'm not sure. I don't know what the sign means. Obviously I can't read Spanish, but we'll just pause it here. I was very, very pleased to see that our little tiny supermercado was still open. And I went and took a look inside to see what the shelves were looking like.
Tengo más tripa para otra persona. No, solo dos. Solo dos, ¿sí? Okay.
Come here, Kappy. So I'd lost this bit here, and I knew if I came back here, this is where it would be, and I was right. So I have to try and do this. Hopefully I'm not too muffled in it. So I've just been to my shop, to my local supermercado, a little tiny one. We've got 2 in this village actually. And everything's normal. Everywhere else is shut. Like the restaurants are shut, the bars are shut. But even the small supermarkets seem to be open, which is quite encouraging. So tried to set an example. I asked, in Spanish of course, do you have more of my favorite drink ever, except apple, fizzy apple juice? Do you have any more of that? She had a look, she said no. This is all we've got. And they had 2 bottles left. 2 big bottles left. I said, okay. Solo para mí. Only one for me. There's kids in this village. And I'm sure at some point
they're going to want something other than water or Coca-Cola or whatever. So that's my little bit. If when I go back in there a couple of days, if it's still in there, I might buy it then. This is fun, guys. This is an experience and we should cherish it. We should absolutely cherish it.
Deben permanecer en sus domicilios. Frenar la epidemia es responsabilidad de todos. Quédate en casa. Achtung! Coronavirus Gesundheitsnotfall. Nach den Anweisungen der Gesundheitsbehörden müssen alle Bürger zu Hause bleiben. Die Bekämpfung der Epidemie liegt in der Verantwortung aller. Bleiben Sie zu Hause. Attention! Coronavirus health emergency. Following instructions of the health authorities, all citizens must remain at home. Stopping the epidemic is everyone's responsibility. Stay home. Mensaje de difusión a la población por parte del.
Okay, so 00, cheers. Thank you so much for that, because as I said, that's happening right now. So they've literally wheeled that up outside your house right now.
Man. It was driving in. You could hear it for a while. It's gone now.
Okay,
but
so that's
the first time I've heard it.
You're in now. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I can go out.
In the background.
Say again.
A watch page playing in the background.
A what?
Watch
No,
page.
no, I'm not got anything. No.
You haven't got headphones on though, have you?
I haven't got any noise at all in this. It's totally quiet.
Just in case anyone in the chat room's hearing echo, am I coming through speakers right now for you? How are you hearing me talk?
Oh yeah, that doesn't normally pick it up.
It seems to be picking it up. I can hear my
That's
own
the
voice.
speakers. All right, hang on.
No problem. I just want to make sure it's the best listening facility that you guys can have in the chat room as well, and for the other guys on the panel. 00's is going to go and see if he can sort that out with headphones or something, so that we don't get the feedback, because I can definitely hear my voice coming back through. Thank you so much, brother, for going and doing that. I appreciate that. So that seems to be the situation for 00 in the Canaries. I've also heard from Dave Marsh as well, who's in Fuerteventura. His flight has been cancelled, and it looks like they're not going to let him off Fuerteventura until the 28th. So much love to you and your mum over there in Fuerteventura, Dave. As I said, if anything updates on my end, I'll let you know through 007 and vice versa. If anything changes with you, please do let me know, and we will try and facilitate as much help and support as possible. Because we realise that some of us have been caught up over the international plane. There's some of my UK counterparts that are not in the UK at the moment. So again, thank you so much to everyone that's tuned in. We will get to you in the chat room. And thank you for doing that, 00, because now I can't hear myself coming back through your mic. So that's wonderful.
No
Cheers, my darling. I really appreciate that. So yeah, we'll come back to Malta and to Tenerife briefly. I'd like to hear an update from Hoodly Daddlebear on how, because I know your president's made some announcements recently. So one thing that I did want to shine a light on was something I was talking about yesterday with Adam about the community. I have done an amazing amount of door knocking with my daughter to try and introduce myself to members of the community that I don't already know. Are you feeling any kind of community aspect around where you live at the moment, Hoodly Daddle? Is there a community initiative? Are people taking care of the elderly right now and making sure that no one's left being vulnerable? What are you seeing all this, or even in your life? I mean, are you having to make allowances for things, or go the extra mile already for people? How is it looking for you, Hoodly Daddle?
Okay, so first of all, smile. It's gonna be all right. Trust me.
Good stuff.
Trust God. It's gonna be fine.
Love that.
This could be a test from God to show us how to be a community. This could be a lot worse. They're not zombies. People are not dying in the rate that they want to purport in the media. As far as community is concerned, I'd like to see more community, but we're still scattered here in the States. We're not as densely populated except in the cities. So that kind of stuff we had in Atlanta, Georgia, a few years back, we had what was called snowpocalypse. A whole lot of snow. And when we did, the entire city was frozen over. People were stuck in traffic for 13 hours. They just got out of their cars and just went for cover to find somebody to help. And everyone kind of came together. You know, humanity surprised me, at least, and really stepped up to the plate. And people took care of each other, which was great. But at the same time, you keep saying, my president. I don't have a president. I'm not represented by any of these people. They're all just figureheads to me.
Nicely put.
Said, they are given talking points. I think they have a little bit of ability to change those things or put their own spin on it. But I think like somebody like a presidential figurehead can use inflection and tone in their conversations to the media, but they really can't say exactly what they want to say because of whatever the reasons are with national security and all that kind of stuff. As far as we are right now, we're on the cusp of it being changing completely, because I know that they just declared this a part of the World Health emergency or World Health Organization. This is a big deal. You know, however you want to take it. The United States has not gotten to the point where they're going to do any kind of self-imposed quarantines mandated. I think it's on the horizon. So that was one of the things that you and I talked about, Roxanne, was that you really need to be forward thinking about this. By the time that is mandated, if it does, and it may happen, you're all going to be too late to get the supplies that you need. So anyone listening,
like a surge, right? It's like a surge. You'll already be in the surge moment of it.
Right, right. I don't believe that the coronavirus is anything close to what it is. I don't think any of us do. Anybody that I talk to in my life doesn't believe it. Everyone's on the same page. I was at the bank the other day, and the teller, I said, "How are you doing?" And she goes, "I'm here." And I said, "Yeah, I totally get it." I said, I totally get it. And we just talked for a moment. And at the end of our conversation, she was smiling and she was, a little bit more bright-eyed. And I said, "You and I are totally here." And she laughed, and I left. And that's what's going on with the people that I talk to. Everyone thinks it's retarded. That being said, I have people on my Facebook that are definitely like, "This is a real thing. You're not taking it seriously." And I'm like, the stats don't lie. Someone told me today that I've known for 25 years, you're not being grounded. You're not giving this the credence or whatever. I'm not going to quote him, but I said, listen, the stats are, I think we're under 3,000 people right now that have died worldwide. Sorry, I'm not impressed. 50,000 people die from the flu in the United States alone, I think, yearly. So no, they're treating it like a pandemic. It's totally not a pandemic. That being said, you have to treat the fallout like what it really is, because that's trickle down. So it doesn't matter if people, if one person died. It matters that the country and the United States is behind you guys, but the world is following the same trend. I think Spain or Italy is really locking it down, and then we're sort of like watching to see what happens. And I said this before on a stream before, watch what the United States does. If the United States freaks the fuck out, then everyone is in trouble. That's right. So I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, let's be forward thinking. Let's be, take the precautionary measures look, it's the flu season, people. Wash your hands. And that's normal. Use the precautions you normally would to not get sick, but to freak out. And I have a 60-ounce thing of hand sanitizer that I've got on eBay. It's at $3,400 right now. It's amazing. I'm kidding. But seriously, that's the kind of things that's the levity that I try to bring to things, is that, don't despair. Yes, it's screwed up. Yes, and not economically, everyone is going to feel this. Everyone from the top down. I think that people are making money on it. I think that there's derivatives on the stock market. You can bet on the stock market on anything. Not just that stocks go up, that stocks go down, that they stay in the same place, that you fluctuate depending on whatever little criteria you put in to change that. So somebody's making a boatload of money. But I think they projected just a few days ago, and I'm sure it's changed by now, we're talking about $300 billion in economic turmoil that's changed as a result of what's happened so far. And just to give an example for people that aren't an economic person like me, if you're a bartender, you're not working right now. If you're a wait staff, you're not working right now. You're losing the money that you make because you may be hand to mouth. I've been there. So that's happening. And so tomorrow the ban is lifted. Everything is fine. Doesn't matter, because now the people that have disposable income to come into your restaurant or your bar don't have that same money because they're paycheck behind. So it
Right.
trickles down no matter what. The only people that it probably doesn't trickle down to are the ultra wealthy or people that have got tons of money in the bank. Well, at the same time, if the economy completely crashes, this is why the world economy, in my opinion, has not crashed, is because if the world economy, if the American economy crashes, everybody crashes. Doesn't matter that our dollar is worth nothing. We're $32 trillion in debt. We're an insolvent business. There's no way on in the face of the earth that any of us would actually give someone a loan to a bank or to an institution that says we want to borrow money from you that's $32 trillion in debt. We'd be like, sorry, you have any collateral? No? Or you just have the fact that your dollar is backed by your military? Okay, yeah, that's why we continue to have a world economy, is because everyone understands that the military of the United States will crush anybody, and therefore you have to kind of play ball. You know, it's like dealing with a drunk friend at a party, you know, that you've known for 20 years. You're just trying to, you know, just mitigate, you know, the fallout from, hey, you know, this person is going to really embarrass me. That's how I kind of feel about the American foreign policy on the military. We've been at war constantly for 222 years of the 243 years we've been in existence as a country. That makes zero sense to me. So sorry, I'm getting a little passionate, but at the end of the day, I don't think this is a real thing, but I also think that as Ian was on the show the other day, he's saying, is this it? And I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, it could, but what I think it is it's a dry run for what's to come, for something that's really a bit more, but nobody can argue is a real thing that's killing people right and left. That's not happening. But if that is the dry run for the next thing, the powers that be, whoever determines these things, is using these as data points to say, okay, this is what people did. This is how long it took for people to do that. This is the economic turmoil that it brought about by the 10 days, 15 days, 2 months. Everyone's projecting this could be July before we could get out of this. If it is, I mean, we're really in for something. I mean, by economics straight ahead, that's going to crush everyone. I mean, China isn't going to be shipping the stuff they ship because nobody's buying, because nobody has any money. I mean, it's just a domino effect, like you said before. It's really simple. At the same time, it's predicated on a bunch of nonsense. And unfortunately, we have two ways that we can go, or fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you're talking to, we have two ways we can go. We can be despair, or we can go, all right, well, let's concentrate on what we can change. Like you said, in the community, what can you do to change things? Well, you know, I don't know, talk to your neighbors, but you know, we're not a homestead here. I'm not in a homestead. I'm in a house in a neighborhood in Decatur, Georgia. So if things get really, really bad, yeah, you can go over to your neighbors. But the thing that I want to sort of drive home, and we talked about this again before, Roxanne, is this is not The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
People are not dying and then becoming zombies and going after people ravenously and just, you know, eating people alive. So if you're holed up in your house, which is the best place to be, I guess, in a pandemic, nobody's coming, bandits and raccoons and whatever, not coming into your house and trying to take your shit. They don't know what you got in there. They don't know if you have guns, you have a bazooka. They don't know if you've got dogs. So no one's going to come to anyone's house. So it's not that bad. But I want to caution people, if you haven't had a martial mandate, whatever, from the top down, that you need to stay in your house, then you need to go out right now and you need to get the provisions that you need. Get gallons of water. Get yourself the non-perishables that you can, you know, are high calorie that will sustain you. You can't go longer than 3 days without water. You can go up to 3 weeks or more without food, and you can ration all that out. So if it got ridiculous, you've got to have the water, because municipalities.
Some people are calling that fearmongery. So what would you respond to that with? Is that fearmongery? You've just said, you know, you've got to go out and get prepared.
Fear, hate. That's what the media always pushes.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion of Owen Benjamin is big on, let's not be despair merchants. Let's concentrate on what is going right. We can always sit around and go, yeah, sure. But now when you panic, they panic. It's the virility of this issue is really what happens. If I give off the levity in my Facebook post, it's sort of making fun and mocking it to some degree, but trying to be a little bit kind of considerate, because people are dying, but they're dying in a small amount, comparatively speaking, to the flu season. A woman that I spoke to, I went to high school with, was giving me some flack, and always does, but she's respectful about it. And she doesn't do the ad hominem attack, which I appreciate, Sarah. But what she does do is she says, well, I've got 3 employees that are have tested positive for COVID-19. One of them, or one of the 4th person, is in quarantine. Okay, at any given time in a flu season, on any year, you're going to have 3 people at your office going to test positive for the flu. This is only a protocol to put somebody in quarantine because that's what's going on right now. But you're not telling me anything new that I don't know. It's not a scary statistic. But people are dying, but we don't know their immune system. We don't know how old they are. We don't know what their medical conditions are. We don't know anything. You know, my dad just got out of surgery for a knee, some kind of knee issue replacement. It's not a replacement, it's something to deal with the knee. And I'm not supposed to go over there because he's 79 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I'll play ball with that. I'd like to go see him. But at the same time, it's like those are the type of precautions you have to take specifically for this situation.
Yes.
Nobody here has died. Nobody that we know has died. Nobody that we know has died. Does that make sense? No one we know knows anyone that has died. No one is bleeding from the anus. Nobody is bleeding from the eyes. That's what's going on. Yeah. So put that into perspective and understand people like this is not a pandemic. They're treating it as such. So they're blowing it out of proportions in that respect. But the fallout from it is you need to go take care of your family and make sure you've got your provisions. But keep your head up and think about this logically. The more you promote fear, the more people will react. If you walk down the road and someone is coming towards you, then a natural reaction, if they're just going to walk through in a beeline, is negative. It is human nature to say, what's going on? What is this person going to do? Are they trying to get me? And as they get closer and closer and closer, as my friend Chris had described to me in an interpersonal relationship, you get more and more nervous about what's this person going to do? Well, maybe I could take them. And these are the kind of thoughts that you have. Well, that person could walk right up to you and give you a hug. But our natural inclination is that we think that this person is going to hurt us. And therefore, if you walk towards them and you smile and they smile back, everything gets scattered. It becomes a different thing. You diffused all.
I love that you said that, man.
So, I mean, that's my
take
on it. I think that you've got to concentrate on the positives. If we get to the point where things are going completely bananas and people are in the streets rioting and all this stuff, stealing VCRs, at that point, you've got to get with your people in your neighborhood, because that is your community, and say, listen, we need to mobilize and talk to each other and figure out what we're going to do to keep ourselves from being attacked by bandits and raccoons and whatever. But it's not going to get to that point. What is going to get to that point is whoever the powers be to decide when this thing ends. That is, what do you do now with the economics? Well, we should have a jubilee. We should just forgive debt. All the banks should just say, you know what, we're abstaining from collecting your payments for a year, because I don't know what they're going to do. The flights here, or the airlines in the States are already asking the government for a bailout. The government doesn't have the money, so the Federal Reserve prints more money. We borrow from them. Who the hell knows who owns the Federal Reserve? Is it the Queen? Is it the Vatican? Is it the Rothschilds? It's somebody. $321 trillion is owed over in the United States, worldwide. Who do we owe that money to?
Can I just interrupt? I've got Adam Meek in here. I've got the lovely Noel Harry there, Double, and you. I've just had a situation come through on my phone. I've had a friend in Southeast London that's just sent me through a message of a situation that's just happened in London today that involves a London bus and possibly a device that's exploded. I've just seen some horrendous images on my phone. I just need to quickly mute myself, come off camera, and just make 2 phone calls and see if I can corroborate what I'm seeing before I show you. But it looks like, if I'm just being primitive just now, if what I'm seeing on my phone is legit, it looks like a device has gone off on a bus in Peckham, and it looks like they've got a situation going on, but it doesn't, something looks off with it already with me. So if you just, if you can all just play nice while I'm gone for a second, please, for me, because I have friends there as well. So just give me a second. It looks legit.
Absolutely.
Rox, I'm gonna let these guys. I'm gonna let our guys take the floor. Should we say hello to Adam?
Adam, will you meet the guys and Double introduce everyone? I'll be back in a second, darling.
Yeah. So guys, this is Adam. Right. Adam Hoodley Delaware, and Noel. You've met Noel, haven't you? I'm finding it hard to keep up with the amount of streams that we've done over the last couple of days. Have you met Noel?
You remind me of Pal from 2001. They're just vibrating with a picture.
Oh,
so, yes.
Shall I put my camera on then, so I don't have to vibrate?
Por favor. There you go. Hey, how are you?
Oh, crazy, mate. Crazy. Yeah. But I like You said something there that intrigued me, and I've been a little bit not negative, I suppose, but cautionary with regards to stuff that's going on. But when you're talking about a debt jubilee, that was one of the many things that was touted very, very, very heavily pre-2012, and a very similar. I've not heard that touted. I'm just actually seeing the slow impacts of debt relief at levels that I cannot believe. And it's very, very interesting. I don't know what to make of it, but it's real. It's real down to, as Rox was saying, in the individual level with the state benefits how they're flexing, but it appears to be also for businesses and stuff. There's a lot of work. I ain't got long tonight, but a lot of stuff to do there. They appear to be supporting people, and I just want to say there's a lot of other. I've just got off the phone with one of the MPs. There's a lot of real community concern going on. I've got a meeting tomorrow night.
Sorry, Adam. Adam, where are you?
In Nottingham.
Okay.
So I've got a meeting with the parish council there for our community in terms of how we're going to try and come together, local businesses. So this isn't governmental led. This is locally led community support. I think everybody's expecting lockdown next week, and lots of emergency meetings are taking place. I've got a positive feeling. Yeah, I've been dropping off paracetamol to pensioners on my way home tonight, and you know, there's a very positive vibe in amongst people for me. I know there's a lot of shit out there. There's a lot of fear porn, but actually, you know, meeting people, and I'm at the front line where I'm having to tell people, no, you can't have this, you can't have this, you can't have 20 packs of this, you can have one. And as soon as I explain to them, I've had some fantastic responses today, absolutely beautiful, and people pulling together. And I say, hopefully, it's up to us what we make of this, how we as a community respond. For me,
absolutely,
whatever they throw at us, I'm just doing my best to hopefully be part of the world I want to live in after whatever comes after this, because something weird's happening. It's too weird. I just want to set an example for the community I want after it.
What you said there is exactly right. You are responsible for whatever you see in front of you that you can change. I can't be responsible for what's going on in Calcutta. I'd like to be, but if I'm walking down the road, I was walking my dog the other night, there's a piece of trash on the road in my neighborhood. I pick it up. I'm not responsible according to, you know, the sanitation, but it's right there. I just pick it up. I'm responsible because I saw it and I have something I can do to change it. So locally, anything you can do to help someone, that's your responsibility. Is it your moral responsibility? Maybe, depending on what your morality is, but it is something you can practically do. And everyone wants to think about, I got to take care of myself and all that. So I have a lot of resources right now. I got water and I got non-perishables. But if somebody knocks on my door and they have nothing, come on in and we'll do what we can. Because you can't, when you go and you get these resources, you kind of have to hoard to protect yourself, in the sense that you can't leave stuff on the shelves because someone else is just going to come and hoard it too. I know that's counterintuitive and it sort of goes against what I'm trying to say. The point being is that I will share what I can to help people. And so I think that's kind of the same thing you're talking about, that you're sort of seeing that people are responding and are banding together, although that is not the normal reaction of people when when we're not in scarcity. You agree?
Yeah, there's obscene profiteering going off at the moment. But I think some of us that are socially responsible, I've taken, mate, if I could sell paracetamol at this price under normal circumstances, yeah, I'm turning down greed. And it's out of making sure we look after people. So if people do fall out and they need some medication, we've got it. Now, the rights and wrongs of what people think about it is kind of irrelevant. I can't prove it either way. But what's upsetting me is just, like you say, it's a very small percentage of people, but there's the level of the intensity of the greed is shocking at times. It's really disheartening. But I say tenfold of that is actually people realizing we're a community. I've worked today on the cancer state, and it's been absolutely great, like I said, with that. And I've been working tonight, about to open a pharmacy that's been closed for 6 months on an estate which is kind of like a retirement estate, you know. So we're desperate to get over there because people are just nervous. They don't need the supplies. I don't need to get up there and deliver paracetamol, but people need the reassurance that there are support there if they do. And that, I think, is the one thing we can give everybody. A little bit with like had some great responses, Rox, from the little cards from last night and the likes. And if we can just give people the assurity that they're not alone, I think what an achievement that'll be, because I don't think that's ever happened ever in a community, other than, like I say, using that blitz spirit where communities had to come together. And I think this is the time where we do have to come together, where we say we are here for each other.
Sorry, I didn't realize my mic was turned down. Go on, Damien. Go for it.
Did anybody check with The Simpsons to see how long this thing's going to last?
Did anyone check with The Simpsons?
Yes, The Simpsons they have like 1,000% batting average.
They do. I mean, word on the street is you don't really have to go far with the Simpsons season to find out where we are on the dateline. I think it's more accurate than most.
Actually a meme, or it's a picture, it's obviously been doctored, of Trump walking off of the White House lawn to his helicopter or whatever. And he's got his jacket open, and you can see the almanac from like 1956 or whatever with from Back to the Future. So he's like Bill. He went into the future and found out like what all the everything happened, and he came back and he decided to change everything. One of the things that was interesting that Owen Benjamin said the other day was that because there's this huge, we've all joked about the toilet paper hoarding and all this other stuff, and it's like toilet paper, Jussie Smollett paper, it's just stupid. It's a ridiculous thing to hoard water. If you're going to hoard water, that actually is
yeah,
it can be used as a currency or whatever. But
hoard baked beans.
Baked beans, yeah, exactly. Peanut butter, almond butter, depending on what your deal is. But I think that he had said that was interesting. He said that the boomer is hoarding toilet paper because they only have shit to give. They got nothing to provide. There's nothing in the way of forward thinking.
I do like that.
Just get. I feel at least that if I'm taking a lot of resources, at least I know that I'll help somebody out if I need to.
Right.
I don't know that the boomer is going to be someone you want to knock on their door to say, hey, we need some help out here. Our car is stopped and we have kids. Yeah.
I think it's real usable help. I think like even today, that was not a priority for me, was to go and buy toilet paper. I was like, when I run out, I got a shower. I can do like mini B-day. I can get like lease. I can do all sorts. But
you can take every towel
is not up there on the priority list.
Down into little magic squares, I mean, really.
Really?
I've been looking up this, Rox,
and
I've been checking the military technique.
Right.
Now, apparently, all you need is one sheet.
One sheet.
One sheet. You take your one sheet, you fold it in half into a triangle again, and nick a little end off the triangle.
Right.
Okay. And then you use your finger through the middle of the sheet to clean your bum.
Right, through the middle.
And then
I think I mentioned this, didn't I? I mentioned the SAS, but I did actually mention this. You use the corner of the sheet to clean under your nails. The corner of the paper to clean under your nails after, yeah.
Too graphic.
Too graphic for me too. That was like uncomfortable. That was I had to like shimmy my way through that one. That was like
that's I don't work blue, so
for the love of God.
No, speak.
Yes, no, speak, no.
I can't come. I can't compete with that. That was awful.
Check out. I know he's got. Check out the big brain on Noel. I know he's got stuff going on in there. I want to hear it though.
Yeah. What's going on in that ticker of yours, man? You've been posting a lot on Instagram. If you haven't already seen Noel's bits and pieces, his link is in the description. He's on Instagram alongside Hoodly Daddlebear as well. You can find Adam on Iron Realm Media as well. But yeah. No, you're on Instagram. I'm flicking through your Instagram feed right now, and as I said, it's like you go there, and to your outside person, it looks like none of it's related, but actually you can kind of relate it all within 2 or 3 degrees. To be fair,
because I'm the original environmental disease, aren't I? I'm ADHD, like you probably are.
We're not normal. That's one thing I do know. We're not normal, no. We are not normal. We be up until silly hours of the morning and first thing in the morning posting things that other people don't even want to think about until they've had lunch. More time.
It wasn't called ADHD when we were at school. We just called problem children.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. It wasn't called ADHD back then, man.
Huh?
It didn't exist.
This is the thing that
I think it's a superpower. It's not a deficiency. You just have to learn how to use it correctly.
Correct.
Just doesn't make you very good in a classroom environment, you know, where they're just slowly drilling in the most mundane bullshit into your head, and you're just like, fucking hell.
No, exactly. The natural response to boring is not concentrate. I guarantee you, anybody who has ADD that is interesting in something they're passionate in, they're completely, totally focused. So, I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, you want to memorize a bunch of information that the government schools have told you need to know to be smart. And if you don't think it's interesting, you check the fuck out. That's what I did. I'm autodidactic. I didn't sit there and go to, college and go through a bunch of masters and all that kind of stuff. I just decided to keep learning, constantly moving forward. Just keep learning. You don't know a word? Look it the fuck up. Sorry, am I allowed to curse in the show?
Of course you are. It's after whatever time, wherever.
I don't want to be gratuitous.
We can curse.
Cursing now and again is not a problem.
Like a British chat show.
Be charming.
Exactly. No, we're all good, man. We're all good. Don't worry. It's all good.
You guys have seen
We're all adults here.
Ghostbusters? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Molly's not listening.
So there's
not the remake
part where the Ghostbusters are, for anybody that hasn't, because I know there's people in other countries like what, they're actually talking to the mayor of New York and they're explaining the gravity of the situation with the ghosts and everything. And Bill Murray says, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, and that's what's going on with this situation. It's mass hysteria based on what, but. I want to hear what Noel says because he's always chiming in on my Instagram. He's the one that hooked me up with all of you. So, dude, what is going on in your head? You have some thoughts, and I want to know them.
Can I, while you're talking, give a visual in the background in my little corner of your Instagram, just to let everyone familiarize themselves?
I don't mind. I don't think. I mean, my last post was a little aggressive and angry because I'm genuinely getting pissed off.
I've just commented on your last post, dude. I've just commented.
I'm getting really annoyed with people's fear mongering now because it's annoying me. Because everyone I speak to face to face is very suspicious of this, and then there's people who I feel like I know well, who in my head I know them and they've got a brain, and then they just sound like CNN. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Come on. And I know I keep on falling out with people because I keep on telling them, I'm like, you're smarter than this. You are smarter than this. Engage your brain.
What does it say?
So what you got to do is think.
Even
just a little bit, like. Oh, okay. We're on my internet.
That's not real, is it? Is that Bill Gates arm in arm?
Well, they weren't arm in arm. They were awkwardly close. I can't tell if it's real, but there was more than one photo of them together, and he does appear on the flight logs.
Billionaire and billionaire, almost arm in arm. Oh, you saying so? Okay, so the flight logs. Everyone that I would think is going to be your conspiracy theorist is going to say, "Well, it's doctored." Whatever. It's like
which of course it could be, but
any conspiracy, there's a comedian that talks about that. He's like, I understand that everybody doesn't believe every conspiracy, but you don't believe any conspiracy. He says, man, he goes, I got a 9-year-old boy and I'm responsible for him and this and that. But he's like, I lie to that motherfucker all the time. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
But once you realize that the anti-conspiracy thing is very much a trained response, it's like a Pavlovian response. You hear conspiracy theorists and your brain just goes, ignore this person.
Right.
Fear what they say, distrust everything, walk away slowly, backward smiling. You know, these are trained responses when you hear conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
It's the same when they say in the UK there was a period where asylum seeker was kind of trained into us with a response, same as terrorist was trained into us and with a conditioned response. Islam, Christianity, now all of these things have been conditioned into people to give a certain response. Like when I tell people I'm a Christian, I wait a while before I tell them, and I always say it after having a drink with them, so it really surprises them, because I would have already done a whole bunch of not very Christian things because I'm not a good Christian. So I know that if I drop it in sometime, then they'll be like, well, hang on, this doesn't, you know, I can drop it and leave it there, but they'll always go, hang on a minute, you're a Christian, but you say, yeah, I'm not, I never said I was a good Christian. Like I'm an atheist on atheist programming who's come to the conclusion that Christianity is truth.
What is a good Christian though?
Because
what does that mean exactly?
Well, I don't know. I think you're supposed to try to be as close to Jesus as possible, right? You're supposed to, you know, love your enemy and I guess pious. Maybe overthrow a few tables. I mean, I'm likely to overturn a table, but that's about it.
But that's one of the aspects of Jesus that was, you know, they gave him balls. I mean, the lack of a better term. I mean, that was the passion and the indignation. That's the indignation that we have towards child trafficking, the indignation we have towards, you know, pedophilia and pederasts. You know, that's the real deal. So if you curse, that's not being Christian. I mean, I guess it is in some circles where they're religiosity, or the cafeteria of Christianity. But I mean, again, not to keep bringing up Owen Benjamin, but that is an example. That's a guy to watch. He curses and he's hilarious. And I watch him every single day, or I listen to him every single day. But there's no in my mind that he's following God to the best of his ability.
Yeah. So I would say I'm about a quarter of the man that Owen Benjamin is. I think that although he is no Jesus himself, he is way closer to Christ than I am.
He's leading the way, not because he's been given the station of leader. He's leading the way, and he
made some very good decisions.
He's setting by example.
Very bad. He was given some bad life stuff, and he made good decisions.
Made some serious lemonade, spiked with.
Oh, that one there, by the way, you're holding up, Rox. I would just very quickly wanted to know what because I was looking at a flat Earth video of a ship descending, and I was thinking, at what point would those masts start to look like they're angling away from us? How many degrees arc would there have to be before you could witness a slight change? And I'm thinking it's probably way less than a degree, right?
No, it's 0.009 or 0.008993261 degrees per kilometer.
So I thought, well, okay, what's 1 degree? And I thought, okay, well, that should be easy because we're apparently 24,000 miles ish all the way around, because we're apparently traveling at the equator at 1,000 miles per hour, and it takes 24 hours ish to do a full rotation. So it should be about 3. I should do division 24 into 360, and what do I get? I'm sure you know. 66.6.
Yes.
Every time I see that, I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That just stinks to me. Every time I see a 66.6, I'm like,
it does. It stinks. 666
number. Yeah. See it all the time.
It really does.
All of the planets. If you go through on Wikipedia, you will find a 66.6 encoded in this, and not like subtly. It'll be in there. It'll be like, oh, let's rotate to 666,000. It'll be in there somewhere.
7, yeah. So what?
Well, the tilt of the
calling card, devil's
tilt the Earth. But like, oh yeah, it's 23.6. Sorry, 23.4 degrees. And you're like, hang on a minute, but off the 90 degrees, that's 66.6 degrees.
33 degree Mason. The opposite is 66.
Is the 33rd degree? Does anyone know? Is that something to do with the third of the angels?
That's what I say. That's exactly what I say.
That's what I usually say when people ask me, but I don't know. I always say I assume it's to do with the third of the angels who went against God.
That's what I believe.
The demons.
There's definitely a thing that through Jesus died at 33. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. The history is replete with these particular numbers, and everyone wants to go, oh, that's a coincidence. Okay.
33.
I don't believe in coincidences. Adam, you already know I don't believe in coincidences. Noel and Hoodly Daddle, are you aware of what Adam does on a weekly basis? Do you know where he goes?
Apart from the,
Does?
Sells
about the pharmacy
drugs.
part, or
Sells
the fact that I bumped into him on, was it Ball Busters? Because I got it wrong yesterday.
That's one of the things he does. That's definitely one of the things he does. But will you
He busts
the guys
my balls.
what you've been doing and how long you've been doing it online for? That sounds so dirty, doesn't it? What have you been doing, Adam? What have you been doing online? Tell them. What do you do every Friday with a bunch of other guys, and what do those other guys do? Where just in case anyone's listening, I know
This sounds worse.
but no, but the guys might not know. So could you just give us a synopsis of your credentials as far as background to the subject that we're talking about now?
Yeah, so I don't know. What year is it? 2020. How long have we been doing that? 4 and a bit years.
For the love of God, tell us,
5
man.
years ago, we kind of started to meet on Twitter, chatting about this stuff. And I kind of was lucky enough to meet up with the guys at Iron Realm who invited me, and they'd kind of been doing it for a while. I'd come along on my own, and we kind of met up. So, yeah, so for pretty much only a couple of breaks in those 4 and a bit years, I suppose. We've been doing a show every Friday night off random 10, half 10, 11. We're a bit like you, Rox, you know.
Yeah,
a bit easy on the times.
I was gonna say, if it's right with you, Adam, I'm just going to share the screen briefly just to show everyone what we're talking about here. I'm right here, aren't I?
Yeah.
This is it.
Click them videos. Right, click videos. There you go. That'll show us our catalogue. So yeah, we've been going for quite a while. It's just as it was never intended to be anything other than us on this journey, because YouTube didn't really exist in the form it did when we started. You know, it was just us guys rocking up, sharing our conversations that we were trying to figure out back in the early days.
Hey,
there's a Roxanne and Dolly there. Look,
hey, there's Dolly. Yay! I can see Dolly with her. Oh yeah, that's the mega Make Earth Great Again cup. I love that cup. On Dave Marsh. Love it. Look how much content you guys have done. So there's like 4.5 years of content on here. So if you're new to this channel and you're quarantined, forget Netflix. Just put this.
A lot of time on your hands. Look it up.
Yo, that's what we're talking
pretty
about.
Much if there's a topic it's very interesting as we sit here, you know, and all the stuff keeps propping up, and we've always been covering it, you know what I mean? And it's interesting the extra knowledge we've added over the time. But if you go through that catalogue, there's some really great stuff. The one I'm most proud of is the interview we did with Alan Park. He's quite a famous comedian in Canada, and a gentleman that was diagnosed with terminal cancer, stage 4. And he was one of the most inspirational people I spoke to know what he'd been through twice. He did the Rick Simpson oil treatment twice, after being told to sod off by the doctors, and still going as far as I know. But legend, and watching that one is what I always ask people to, if they've been given some bad news, to just go and watch that show. That's one of my favourite fallbacks, to just let people know what's going off if you are looking at Rick Simpson oil treatments and cancer treatments and other stuff.
Explain that, what Rick Simpson, I had to look it up before, but Rick Simpson is cannabis oil.
Yeah.
Maybe some people are not familiar. Can you explain?
Yeah, so I suppose the credit to the man, he was the man that kind of pioneered the use of cannabis oil, full extract with both THC and CBD, as a treatment to cancer, many forms. Something that involves, as we understand it, the invocation of apoptosis within the cell. So that's a cellular request generated by the oil that, upon saturation, can ask the cell to self-analyze, and if found cancerous, self-faulty in a number of ways. asks the cell or encodes the cell to self-destruct, which is very, very different to how we destroy cancer cells in terms of modern treatments, which is a scattergun effect, where we take out lots of good cells as well. It's a lot of work to be done. But as you know, my dad, we treated with it, and my best friend's mum, she didn't have prostate cancer, she couldn't get it. She ended up with esophageal, and 8 months to live, and 2 years later she's rocking good as well.
Love that. You've got to love that, because we do love a positive ending, and that's what I am hearing a lot more with the Rick Simpson treatment and all of these endocannabinoids. That's it. We're hearing a lot more positive outcomes for these than the kind of horrendous outcomes that we're hearing through modern day pharmaceutical treatments. And there really is proven testimony that these treatments work and they're life changing, right?
Yeah, it was a bunch of hoodly daddle back in the day. And then I think the first person that came to the table on mainstream media was Dr. Sanjay Gupta. And I was on CNN, and he essentially said after he saw the results from the CBD oil with children that had extreme cases of epilepsy, they were arrested. Their development was arrested because they were not able to spend enough time not having seizures to the point where, you know, they couldn't learn anything, they couldn't progress as a person and do normal activities. And they were like 6, 7, 8 years old. They give them these treatments. They go from having, 150 seizures a week to like 5 to 2 to 1 to like, once a month and all that stuff. So he had to retract his position based on those kinds of results. And I mean, I've done my fair share of it. I've found that recently I felt like I used it much more as a crutch. And I felt like the best version of myself is when I was high, which is I was believing my own press. Actually, the more clear-minded I am when I'm not. I hate to say that as a person who promoted it for so many years, but there is such thing as overusing something and more. Sometimes more is just more. Sometimes it's not necessarily better, but you cannot deny that someone who has taking cancer treatment, especially chemotherapy, which I think is poison anyway. But if you are doing that and you don't have an appetite and you need to eat because you have to have calories, that is one thing that automatically makes you hungry. You probably could take a pharmaceutical that they've designed to come up with that. But I mean, that's something natural that you can it's measurable that you can change about yourself. As far as the downsides to it, I mean, again, like I said, I've overused the hell out of it. So now I feel like in my life at this point, I've taken a back seat to it. It's like, well, maybe, I'll do that on the weekend sometimes or whatever. And it kind of be, I don't want to say a treat, but, something that I do on a less frequent basis. Because I also lost a lot of memories as a result of blatantly overusing it. But it's not something you become dependent on, in my opinion. From my experience, it's not something you can become addicted to. You can become addicted to being a loser, being a lame-o, but not taking care of, not adulting 101, not doing your laundry and stuff, sort of checking out. But that's like anything. If you eat too many cheeseburgers, I mean, nobody outlaws those. Nobody outlaws the fact that there's 300,000 people died of obesity last year, and nobody's closing down McDonald's or Burger King or Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever. So there's a lot of double standard. I want to say this because I saw this the other day on it was just a meme that's put up of somebody's Twitter or whatever, and they said, scientists, you should wash your hands because of coronavirus. People, I'm going to stop flying, hoard masks, work from home, and totally rearrange my life. Then also scientists, hashtag climate crisis will kill millions, and we must use clean power and change how we get to work. People, no way. So I mean, like that. It seems like that for the people that are, I don't want to say leftists because that's another false binary that we get into, but people that are less likely to watch a video for 10 minutes on the fuckery of NASA are really, there's a stark contrast behind what they really get passionate about and then what they really completely ignore when you talk about facts and stats. So the coronavirus, there's a Canadian guy put out a 10-minute long video. I put it on my Facebook. I didn't put it on my Instagram because I don't know, it's kind of hard to, you have to take a screen video of it and you have to re-upload and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, he went and did his thesis on these types of things, viruses and whatnot. And he's like, this is SARS. There's nothing new about this. It's a repackaged branding of something that's already happened before. In fact, Corona was a little too pedestrian of a name to call this, because the immediate jokes that were coming out was, you know, well, Corona goes well with a Lyme disease, you know, that's one of the things. And so they had to change it to COVID-19 because that seems, you know, sinister. Wow, what is that? I mean, Owen said the other day, or a few weeks ago, he said, listen, if there was some kind of thing that came out and nobody knew what the hell it was, the CDC was like, we're just baffled, it would be called RU9054-5. It wouldn't have some pithy name like the coronavirus. You know, so they had to change it, I think, to COVID-19 to give it more respect for how scary it is.
I mean, I think that's a really valid point, because a lot of people have got that same point of view. A lot of people resonate with that line of thinking. And I think it's awesome that we've got that diversity within the panel, within the audience watching. But at the same time,
can I say something?
Of course you can. Let me just finish that, Rich.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would say I think it's quite poignant at this time to bring in that balanced opposing view that is so important at this kind of really tentative time. So before we chime in, Double, can we let our qualified panelists respond to that before us? Because I think your credentials would kind of supersede ours, Adam, because you are on the front line, aren't you? You are on the front line yourself, Adam. You've been given guidelines by the NHS to follow, and you're on the front line. So what would you say, so that we've got, you know, both sides of this, please?
As a result, I think you can back stuff up with sense. From my perspective, if I was to analyze the nomenclature of what we're dealing with, it was initially identified as corona. Now, I'm not suggesting the PR team didn't go to effect, but if you were to follow it from kind of logical conclusions, yes, the initial diagnosis was corona. It seemed to have some novel symptoms. It was that at that point, and actually from a virology and epidemiology point of view, would you want to start to differentiate it once you start to realize you're dealing with something that is worthy of its own name, and that's why you see this bullshit coronavirus identified in 2019 cynicism. Now, I am not suggesting for 1 minute, and probably what's more surprising, if you think of it as a pre-planning, is the fact that it wasn't developed like that it was given this kind of weak-ass pussy thing that everybody laughed at first of all, before it was given the more outbreaky kind of title, which gives it not so much the thing that kind of validates it from a clinical perspective to the layman, as if COVID-19 really means anything. But as I just said, it means the coronavirus, this novel identified in 2019. It's just shorthand texting.
I have a theory. It's the coronavirus, I'm going to say again, was identified a long time ago. Obviously, you know, Adam, as the common cold, and it's in the medical encyclopedia as the common cold. So they chose that name. They've got this story around how they were trying to weaponize COVID-19 anyway, a strand of COVID-19 anyway. I heard a story that they were trying to do that in Wuhan. But they release it, it's COVID-19, and then later on they specify, it's actually it's the coronavirus. Sorry, I'm getting confused myself now. Talking about the coronavirus. The coronavirus is the cold, and then they release it. They say, the coronavirus, and then a little bit later they release this COVID-19, and every time they report it, it doesn't matter. You don't know what they're talking about. It's COVID-19, it's coronavirus, it's COVID-19, it's coronavirus. They've done it deliberately because everybody gets a cold. So it will be really, if you were to go around and actually get the statistics for how many people catch a cold in a year, it's ridiculous. So it will be easy for them to it looks like the numbers are inflated, or it looks like, you know, it's a serious epidemic, everybody's catching it so quickly, because it's the common cold still. It's only this COVID-19 bit that's actually the dangerous part, or the thing that's killing people. And that we don't know when it's COVID-19 and when it's coronavirus, because they can't decide in the MSM, you know, in the mainstream media, they can't decide which one to call it. I think it's very deliberate. It's very deliberate.
Go on, Adam, were you speaking there as well?
I would say there are some tests that I'm being offered in China. And I've been reading into, they appear to be like monoclonal antibody type receptors, so they're on a protein marker basis, similar to like pregnancy tests, in the way that they're raising monoclonal antibodies to then lock on to the proteins that identify what you're looking for. What I've not seen from that is it seems that the test they're applying had SARS, COVID, and one other thing, but again, it wasn't specific in terms of the protein markers that are in relation directly to the COVID-19 strain that you would be able to raise a monoclonal antibody to. So again, I'm seeing stuff out there, but again, I'm not seeing, as Rich is saying, that this, how do we differentiate between a protein marker that is just of a coronavirus, the common cold, which if we test anybody throughout this period, they're going to show it up at some point in the year, so you can get your numbers like that. How and what markers are differentiating the 2019 strain from any other form of cold? How are they figures then being definitely validated at cause of death? On what is it that is this novel marker? Like I said, I saw a few bits, but I'm yet to see anything that clearly labels this as to why it's that. There's lots of weak supposition, all places, we've got this, we've got that, but nobody's stating why they've got it, which medically is unusual.
Do you, has anyone, you know, in any living memory, seen, even with this pandemic, as labelled by the World Health Organization situation, where we've got so many places declaring a state of emergency, we've now got retrospective prime ministers and presidents internationally referring to the virus as now the storm, invisible enemy, the storm. If you would just indulge me for a second, I'd like to play the Irish prime minister, who's gone on record to say literally as such, because I feel it's relevant, because it's the tone that's changing, and it's changing quite quickly. It's almost like a tide turning, you know, like when you're out in the water and it goes really quickly and you don't see it coming. I don't know how we've gone from all of these conflicting COVID-19, coronavirus, corona, this, that, and the other, to where we're at now. A few, as I said, I think Rich said yesterday about one of them referring to it as an invisible enemy or something like that. But I'll play this for everyone now. If you just bear with me, it's just an audio.
Both Macron and Trump.
Before the storm, before the surge. And when it comes, and it will come, never will so many ask so much of so few. We'll do all that we can to support this. Is the calm
it's just a loop on Instagram. I haven't got
before the surge.
Full clip.
And when it comes, and it will come, never will so many ask so much of so few.
So
it was actually we had Trump, we had Macron, and we had Sanchez from Spain, all saying, well, Macron just said, we are at war, we're at war. Sanchez was saying, we're at war with a hidden enemy.
There it is, there. Sorry, yeah, I'll show you it all. Hold on, I've got it there. It says there, that's Trump's tweet saying, we're at war. I'll read it. The world is at war with a hidden enemy, and we will win.
disaster of biblical.
It just sounds like the language seems to be off, and I thought I'd chime that in to just give a broad spectrum of, you know, balanced bits and pieces going in, because I think everyone's opinion here is valid, because there seems to be a lot of chatter going on internationally. No one country seems to be going through the situation in exactly the same way at exactly the same time. All the models that are coming out, you know, are they going to work in other countries? Aren't they going to work in other countries? You've seen them going through the process of shutting things down slowly and surely, to the point where, well, like today, Rich has had the car outside his house, Adam. I'm not sure if you joined before or after we played that video, but Rich has had the car with the tannoy outside his house, playing the tannoy, saying, get in your house, stay in your house now. That's it, in your house, in you go. And you can see a woman walking her dog, like she's just out walking her dog going, what, like now? Like,
But that's really weird.
Rich,
that's really weird, because the lockdown hasn't been declared. So whoever's doing that is unlawful.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do real quick for everyone. I won't play the whole video again, Rich, if it's all right with you. I'm just going to go straight to that little bit at the end for Adam, because I think it's relevant for context. Hold on, where is it? It's right there. Hold on. Let me just get it, guys. Here we go. Okay, so now I'm a little novice at the same time, guys. Sorry. All right, there we go.
While you're finding that, I have had an interesting comment from my Irish friend about the Irish Prime Minister, unelected and hated by most Irish. His paraphrasing of Churchill.
Sorry.
His paraphrasing of Churchill has the people spitting.
Oh dear.
Sorry, I thought you meant in the UK, Rox, not in the Canaries. Sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it was only literally today, Adam. Literally.
No, but if that's going off in the UK, we are at the point where, you know, we're being asked to prepare for a lockdown. So anybody, that's what I thought you was talking about. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
I assume, that's state.
Protección civil.
The girl following behind, look.
No.
With the dog. I'm taking my dog for a walk. Don't be daft.
No, let him finish his walk first. There's people on their roof there as well. There going.
We're allowed. We're allowed to walk our dogs, though. We are allowed to walk our dogs.
Apparently, they're allowed to walk their dogs. So.
Prime Minister said we're allowed.
So yeah, sorry about that. I thought that was just worth showing you.
No,
sorry, yeah, and you thought it was the UK.
Rob, sorry.
My bad.
I thought you meant in London, Duck. London town.
No, but the army.
That'll be on Friday, mate. That'll be on Friday, sunshine.
The army have been seen. Yeah, the army have been seen in Clapham and Brixton today, in London. The army have been physically seen on the streets. So
I've got pictures of them in. I've got pictures of them in. I have pictures of them in Liverpool.
Have they been seen in Richmond, darling? The army, or are they just rocking up in working class areas?
Can you think working class areas? Just give me 1 second.
So, when
this is Liverpool.
Can you hear me? Wait, why can't I be?
Yeah. We can hear you. I can hear you, mate.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yep.
It's not working. Anyway, the pictures Rock sent about the ones in Clapham, I sent them to a friend of mine who's got military contacts. He's saying there's something weird about it, that none of the guys are wearing berets except the two at the back. It looks more like a bunch of cadets marching. And he said if they had to walk through that area today, there'd probably be thousands of photos of them, because everyone would be snapping photos of them because of what's going on right now. And he couldn't find any others online. I was just wondering if it was an old photo that she'd been sent with someone trying to trick her. Another friend sent lots of photos he'd been sent of people be taking photos of military trucks and stuff on different motorways, and I've heard from several other people, someone in the airports, they were told the lockdown is Tuesday. I don't know, last night people were saying it would be Monday. I think the military and the police connection were saying Monday. These were saying Tuesday for the lockdown.
So my friend's uncle is high up in the military fire brigade. and no, he's high up in the fire brigade, and the military have been there all day. So that's confirmed. They are there. The military are there.
Wouldn't you expect that? We're at a time with whatever they're doing now.
Oh yeah.
In terms of, there's a potential for things to go tits up, for people not to behave with the humanity we want. So it would seem incumbent upon any department to have plans in place to deal with civil unrest, which, so to me, to see that the military are planning for this, that they have things, is not disturbing. It's quite not reassuring, but it's not surprising. What the issue is what happens if the military are on the police, how the military behave. That's the only issue for me. I'm not.
It's the orders that they're given, isn't it? It's the orders that they're given. That's what matters.
I stated to my friend, I'm more concerned about the police than I am the military. But I mean, if I was maybe one of the many Muslims in the UK, I might be more concerned about the military, only because I know why a lot of those guys signed up. But regarding the police, I've always been more afraid of the police, because I mentioned 2 nights ago the kind of guys who sign up for that. And a friend of mine is saying that apparently, I'll have to check this out because I don't know if it's true, UK government pushed a bill through last night giving police new powers to arrest and detain.
I don't know if that's
true.
I've got them.
Do they require new powers? Because they were pretty lax with their arresting and detaining.
I'll show you.
They've got new powers to be able to come into your property and remove you if the constable believes that you have coronavirus. Yeah, go through it, Rox.
I'll get it up now.
Whack it out on the screen.
Before you do, I'm gonna have to do one, I'm afraid.
Adam, we love you as always, darling.
Thank you. We love you, dude.
Honestly, thank you so much for coming on and giving us your 2 cents on it, my darling. Stay safe. And
I know
before
our
I
chat
do
room
this,
definitely appreciates it.
One bit of drug information I want to give. Roxanne sent me some pictures of drugs on her lap today from a car, which sounds really ropey. But one was a packet of standard paracetamol, your generic stuff. One was called Panadol Actifast. Now, they're the same thing, okay? Please, when I talked about paracetamol, the thing with paracetamol is being careful not to overdose. So just to remind you, please check the contents. Things like Panadol, Paramol, all of them, Sindol, all of the other combination analgesics will also, in most likelihood, cocodamol contain paracetamol. Please make sure you don't exceed the dose. The other one that trips people up is Lemsips. Please check the content of paracetamol in Lemsips and don't co-dose with other paracetamol. You're really at risk there. That's where problems do occur throughout the year, all the time, because people don't realise Lemsips got paracetamol. Some of them have got a tablet and a little bit in, 650 milligrams. Some of the max strengths have got the equivalent of 2 paracetamols. So you're double dosing. You will not get any extra benefit. What you're going to do is...
Do you know the crazy thing?
Is kill your liver.
Okay, Adam.
The crazy thing over here, Adam, is they sell paracetamol in... They come in 1,000 milligram tablets.
Yeah.
And so you get English over here that take 2.
Exactly.
They take 2 tablets. So they're taking 2,000 milligrams. I know people that have taken 3 of them.
It's too much.
Wow.
It's just too
You're just
much,
taking 3,000 milligrams of paracetamol.
Insane.
Yeah, what? So you don't realise what that's going to do to your liver.
So now, single doses, nobody really needs to ever panic about. It's when you take repeated doses over a day and a half, 2 or 3 days, that you start to impair liver function. So just read the packet. And like I said, if in doubt, whilst you lot are loving it up on PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, YouTube we'll be at work. Give us a ring and we'll let you know.
Thank you, my darling. Big love to you. Have a lovely evening and lots of love to the family. And come on back and keep us updated on what we should be doing and not doing, more importantly. Yeah?
God bless you. See you all later, guys. Take care.
God bless, man. See you later.
Take care, my darlings. So, guys, not to change gears super quickly, but listen, if you haven't already looked in the description, click the link for Noel Harry Watson's Instagram, because his story quite longer than most Netflix movies. I want to go through. I want to make a little segment here because we do want to get more into the mind of Noel. Do we not, Damien and Rich? We want to get into the mind of Noel.
I would like to very quickly interject and say almost none of those posts are my own. I just follow a bunch of things and I reshare what resonates.
That's the point.
I don't really create any content. Other people have done that and no credit goes to them.
But this is what the meme war is all about: sharing.
I
content
do sow
that
threads
resonates.
together.
Yeah,
I do give credit. I do give credit to people when I take it. I say I'm taxing this.
Yeah, I like that. I do. I like that.
When I do it a lot, I do. I do it. It's such a. It's literally like, oh, Molly's gone for a poo. I've got 2 minutes, and I'm like, right, yes, no, yes.
Hey, I want to ask you people a question real quick. Bill Gates and Barack Obama released a documentary on Netflix called Pandemic. Has anybody seen it?
No.
Okay. Well, it happened in January. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This isn't the comedy show, which is about the virus in China. This is the other thing, the documentary.
Yeah. And apparently it pushed the Gates Foundation was funding this virus research in the Wuhan lab in China. And Bill Gates was a member of the China's Academy of Science. He built the lab and was awarded the highest honor. I don't know that any of that. I haven't been able to fact check that. There's just a post that a friend put up today, but he usually does his research on it. So it seems very interesting to check out. So there's maybe people out there that are in
Pandemic, right? Did you say Pandemic?
Yeah, called Pandemic on Netflix. And Bill Gates, Bill Gates has got this whole. I've heard him do symposium on the population of the world has to go down based on the projected numbers of the blah 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 and blah blah blah. So
we've been looking for something to watch. We've been searching for things to watch. So, Rich, make a note of that, please. Pandemic on Netflix, and we'll check that out.
That means you've got to watch something on Netflix that was endorsed.
Was that proposed to this situation happening? Wow, it came out a couple of months before the coronavirus. That's interesting.
Again, too many coincidences, guys. All these coincidences.
Obviously, we watched World War Z and Contagion, and they both have pandemic that originates in I should say an Asian market, because I think it was Taiwan.
And Contagion as well. I want to watch that. I've not seen that.
But Contagion, I think, was a Chinese fish market, was it not? The originated source was some guy sneezed on a fish or something, and then Gwyneth Paltrow eats it.
Russell Red says Pandemic on Netflix was also funded by Gates, which I think is also what they're saying on this. Yeah.
Well, and he's just walked away as well.
What's the chat talking about? Because it's scrolling.
Yeah, I was just going to say. Oh, hey, look, he's come back. He couldn't stay away. You just couldn't stay away. He's come back to the wrong one. Look, go on. Say it. Go on.
Yeah, just a quickie. I spoke with a couple of guys last night with regards to addiction treatment and prescriptions. I had a word with one of the drug units today. What they're advising me, guys, is
we're talking about supervised prescription drugs here.
Supervised consumption of methadone, buprenorphine, and other addiction treatments. So what they're saying is it's going to be left. Luckily, today it was announced that pharmacists are being enabled with special powers, basically powers of professional judgment. So I think a lot of it's going to be handled at local level, which is a great thing, I think, for most addiction patients, because they know that, like I said, we know each other very, very well. We talk every single morning. Right. So speak to your pharmacist. As far as I understand at a local level in Nottingham, what it's been done is if you've been identified to self-isolate, you won't be getting all your medication in one go. You'll be speak to the pharmacy, tell them who you're going to send down on your behalf, send a note with that person. Maybe you want to use a code word that you'll use in the note, because I know that some of the patients may be worried and people need to be careful, and I think that would be very advisory. There is always opportunistic people out of there, but liaise with your pharmacist. As far as I'm aware, it's on a case-by-case basis. Your pharmacist will work with you, and if you are at the point where you need to self-isolate, as far as I'm aware, as long as they're able to liaise with the drug units and come to a conclusion for you. But there's no blanket answer across the country at the moment. It's work with the individual centres on local policy.
Before you go, Adam, I had a call from Dave Marsh today. He's been delayed by over a week. And with regards to getting his mum's medication while they're over there, would you advise he goes to a local pharmacy over there or contact a local pharmacy back here and get someone nominated to go for it? Can I put you in touch with him?
I would go locally. I think for Brits stranded abroad, I would contact the local consulate. There needs to be and should be measures already in place. I'm not aware of them because I work on a council estate, but I would imagine that if you're a British citizen stranded abroad, contact the consulate. There will be measures in place. The alternative, obviously short-term fix, is go with your empty packets of medication that you went on holiday with to the local pharmacy and a load of euros and get yourself looked after quick. Get a receipt, okay, because all of this is going to be refundable, no doubt. Keep it and then liaise with the consulate as to what you do moving forwards. And I'll say,
I'm writing it down. I'm going to
get
tell
a
him
receipt.
all that. Yeah, I'll tell him all that. Thank you, Adam, darling. I'm glad you came back because I forgot to ask you that.
Right.
Thanks.
God bless again. See you later, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I do have it on the tip of my tongue, guys, what I wanted to ask Noel. You shared something that I saw today and I didn't share it because I hadn't looked far enough into it. But then I saw you share a couple of posts after and I was like, oh. So, Missy Jennifer Haller, the first person to test coronavirus vaccine, appears to be a crisis actor.
No.
It looks like it. Jennifer Haller, the first human coronavirus vaccine patient, speaks out in an interview on MSNBC. But when you look a little bit closer and dig a little bit deeper, like Harry showed us, like I said, if you want to look at what I'm talking about right now, you should get an influx of people trying to follow you in a minute, Harry, because the only way you're going to see is going to follow Harry on Instagram. You won't be able to see what I'm looking at, guys, unless you go and look at his story. And it's about 21 hours ago on his story. I'll show you a little snippet of it here.
You're on mute.
Yeah, I just realized. I need to interject slightly on that point because Crisis Actor was the post that I saw, and I posted some more that came with it that do suggest that she's connected with Elizabeth Warren and working for a company whose name momentarily escapes me, but it is in that feed that you're looking at now, who are, I believe, involved in providing the tech for the whatever forces are going to be probably roaming the streets in the next few months in the States.
I was going to say Axon Body 3.
Axon, that's it.
Yeah, Axon. Cincinnati police roll out Axon Body 3, which just so happens to be the company that Jennifer Haller is the former office manager at. And,
I didn't find a video of her as an actual crisis actor. That post was someone else's post. I often reshare before checking when I do things very quickly, and then luckily I have plenty of people who check things for me and put me straight very quickly. And then if I can't find anything for it, I don't.
Seen Robbie Parker from the Sandy Springs shooting?
Yes,
that was the dad, the laughing gas.
Yes. Yeah. We're on TV land right now. There's a way that all of us can edit this or create things that are illusions. And one of the things they do with these press conferences is they put up the lights against the side of a wall of a school or a brick, whatever, and they have this guy. He comes out, and you can tell the people that are around are kind of, I don't know, they're the people that are there at a press conference. But the people that would be there that are in the fourth wall that we can't see, supposedly you think there's a bunch of press and individuals that are listening to this. There's probably nobody there. They're coming out with the lights. Guy Robbie Parker, whose daughter supposedly died like the day before. First of all, I don't have kids. Noel does, and you do, Roxanne. I mean, look, I mean, my kid dies. I'm not on TV the next day. I don't know that I could pull that off. Okay, but he walks out of his door.
real. I just don't see.
I wouldn't be able to keep it together.
Right.
How could you keep it together?
You know,
You'd be like, I just can't do anything. I don't care how incensed I am about my child dying. I can't talk about it yet. I'm just completely and totally numb. You wouldn't be able to process that, to have a conversation with anyone.
I think I'd hit anyone that tried to put a camera on me.
Have you seen this video? Have you seen this video? Anybody?
You will have seen it.
Okay.
You will have seen it. This guy walks out with a big grin on his face, and then instantly goes.
He's like he's getting prepared to go on camera.
This is my moment.
Right, he's getting prepared to go on camera, and he smiles with like a shit-eating grin over to one of the people, like, okay, so and he walks up, he takes a moment, and then he gets into character. You can see him preparing himself, and then he goes into I was the worst acting I ever seen. It was completely not believable. Even if you showed that to me without the beginning, without him coming out and smiling, I show this to people and they go, "You don't believe that Sandy Hook shooting was real?" I don't know. I wasn't there, but this guy isn't making it any easier to believe. Are you kidding me? Really? So the crisis acting, I've also seen it in the Orlando shootings, because they have a map that shows where the shooting was at the Pulse nightclub and where they're all running away from. And we all know that if someone gets injured, we don't pick them up. That's just the common knowledge of just the general population knows that logically you don't pick them up, because you could make the injury worse, especially someone who's been shot. Okay, so these people are all picking people up and pulling them out of the vicinity of where the gunfire is going, and you see them going in the wrong direction and going actually towards the apparently, according to the map, you see them going towards to where the area is. Supposedly there's medical attention over there. And I'm like, you're pulling me away. First thing I say to you is, drop me. Bring the gurney over to me.
I know what you're talking about.
Don't pull me away. You know what the fuck you're doing. And secondarily, don't pull me in the way where the shooting was. I don't know. He got on a bullhorn and said, "All right, everybody, the shooter is down. We have medical attention. Come on back towards the club. Promise you're not going to get injured for medical attention." No. I'm staying right here behind these bushes, and I want you to get the paramedics to come here. Drop me. Then you see them. They're off camera. They don't realize they're off camera. They have the guy they're pulling up. 3 of the guys are holding this guy who's limping along, and they put him straight down, and they're standing there waiting for their next direction. I've seen this. And I got people on my Facebook are like, this is it's like cognitive dissonance, like overload. Like they won't even entertain that maybe there's some fuckery going on. It's absolutely bizarre to me. I know Noel's seen the video because he follows me on Instagram.
No,
I saw that video
in the chat room. Go ahead, Noel.
No, I'm going to say there's a lot. Like, I mean, I've basically given up those topics because you never seem to make ground with anyone. Everyone is so programmed to be in this respect for the victims mode, of respect the victim, respect the victim, respect the victim's family, that they cannot see the lies. And it even works on me. I know this, and I sometimes see it. Like, I'll see someone looking sad, and my brain is automatically going, "Don't disrespect them. They're in, leave them alone." And then there's this other part of my brain is going, "That person is lying to you. Look at them. This is not a person in distress. This is someone pretending to be in distress."
Yep.
Like Brits, we can look at, say, for example, the parents of Manny McCann, and almost everyone in the UK was like, something's not right. Like, we saw that one.
Yeah.
And that one was plain. We could see there was something not right.
And now we know that the Podesta brothers are involved a bit. The whole gets even.
It looks like they were, doesn't it? Yeah. Certainly those photo fits fit them perfectly, and they were staying with Freud. Sir Clement
Do you know
Freud.
what? They were staying just down the road from my bloody parents.
How did her parents go to the house? What were they at the Podesta's house for dinner? I mean, what are the chances? I mean, just what are the chances?
It was Sir Clement Freud's house, but it's where they were staying. And I don't know if it was while they were there with her, but certainly afterwards he was helping them with the situation.
Have you seen the statement?
It was just up the road from my bloody parents.
How like they brushed it off like it was nothing. It's like, oh, it's just yeah, but that was no big deal. We were just there for dinner, but that's got nothing to do with it. It just so happened to be 2 days before our child went missing. And then the picture of that little girl with the eyes that Madeline's got, those so very unique eyes.
Okay.
And it just all, well, I suppose it'll all comes out when Podesta gets arrested.
This,
wasn't
do
it?
you know,
Oh, I hope he does.
Rox, this is another thing.
It'll
This
all
is
come
another
out.
thing, right?
That's
That's
Roxanne on Instagram. I have to get Marley one second.
Yeah, go for it, darling. Go for it.
Okay, you guys seen
right.
the
This.
9/11 guy with the wearing the
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to say something about this.
Yeah, go for it.
This is another thing that it's a bit weird because it happened just down the road from where my parents were.
Oh
My parents were they lived just down the road, and my dad was out in the search parties looking for Maddie McCann. So that's close to home for me as well.
There's people it's affected.
And the Podestas were staying just up the road, like it wasn't that
it was
far
common
away.
knowledge. This is what I want people to know. This isn't a conspiracy. It's not like it's like some hype talk about the Podestas having a house that just so happened to be a stone's throw from where this little girl went missing. And oh well, we'll look at it as a coincidence because they've had no involvement in any other kind of wrongdoings, have they? Much, not at all. And I think it's when you have like that local knowledge. When you've got, you could have quite easily said, oh, my aunt's owned a house there since the 80s. And well, everyone knew that they were living there, they fucking flashed their money around and they're big time Charlie, spenders type of thing. It's always
I don't think that my parents ever came across the Podestas. I never heard that their names, that name come out of their mouths. But I know that when she went missing, I remember my dad, and I think my mum, I'm not sure, but my dad was definitely involved in the
so that goes to show that whether they were indigenous to the area or not, whether you were a Brit living there, a German living there, whoever you were that was living in that area, you were physically involved in that whole kind of charade, if you will. And I think it's quite funny how it all comes back round full circle again, because this is where we find ourselves now.
So I was there a couple of years later. I went to go and stay with my mum and dad for a few months in that village, and and then so Maddie McCann was a name that you just didn't mention in the village, man. After that,
crikey.
There's a video of a 9/11 crisis actor. Maybe he was like the first ever crisis actor that we actually were able to identify. He doesn't get a name. He's interviewed by, I think, Fox News. I'm trying to find it on my Instagram because you will not be able to find it on YouTube.
See the guy that talks about the structural.
Yeah,
it's the guy that basically comes out as if he's a structural engineer.
Yeah. He comes out wearing a Harley Davidson shirt. And the guy's like, what did you see? He's like, I was there, and these two planes just reamed through the side of the building. He says, one after the other. And then one building, I watched one tower collapse right after the other. He says, probably due to structural fire because the fires are just so intense. And there's a guy standing behind him that looks like a CIA handler. It probably whisks him away to whomever right afterwards because he's so. It's like, and they put little subtitles on like, who talks like this?
Nobody. It'd be great if you could get the audio.
First of all, it's covered in soot from top to bottom.
No one in real life talks like that, do they? No one.
And nobody goes ahead and pontificates on what they think might have happened based on their, background in being a guy on the side of the street that says, well, this is what I think, okay. Well, most people were just stunned and crying their eyes out. Grown men were just, speechless because this was such a crazy thing to be a party to. And, we were watching it on TV. My mouth was open. I wasn't sitting there having it. I will say this.
No.
Realized almost immediately, probably after the second tower fell, because they were about an hour and a few minutes between each other. The pundits were already talking about that. They were already bandying about the name Osama bin Laden. Live. I remember
very quickly
thinking to myself, wow, after an hour, you already figured out who might be the architect of this thing?
And they found the passport very quickly as well, didn't they, on the floor, man? Jesus.
And the newscaster goes, well, he's just matter of fact saying this because he's like, this sounds just preposterous. He goes, well, and they found the passport of one of the supposed hijackers on the side of the street, and he said, if you can believe that, that's what he said. And it's like all of this stuff happens and everything, and this thing called paper flies out of this building and lands softly enough in a manner that you can read it. It isn't completely, destroyed, mangled, it's just like beyond me what they can. So like that's where and that's what we talked about before on the stream. That's where you enter into all of this mess. You start with 9/11, and then you eventually get to the moon landing, and then you go into possibly realm Earth, flat Earth, not spherical spinning ball Earth in an infinite vacuum, next to an atmosphere, breaking the laws of the second law of thermodynamics by having a no containment next to a vacuum, which you've never seen, proven, able to measure. It's not repeatable, measurable, and at the same time, it's like, well, gravity is the catch-all for everything no one can explain. And these are the type of conversations when I start to have these with people that are open-minded, they all go, well, I never really thought about it like that. And they start to you see the wheels turning. And if they're not those type of people, like Noel said, I can't really have those conversations with them. It's too much energy that I don't have.
What is it we say? What is it we say?
Say it.
No, me and
sorry,
Rox.
no, my mind's gone blank. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Go for it.
I'm not sure if you're qualified to have this conversation with me.
Oh, yeah, that's what we say to people. Yeah, I'm not sure you're quite qualified to have this conversation. When I'm out in Speaker's Corner and people start going off on me, going round and round in circles, yeah, that one's the one that normally fits. For the life of me, my mind went blank. Do you know what it was that made my mind go blank though? It was one of Noel Harry Watson's posts on Instagram. I was looking at his because I'm trying to take us through his kind of rabbit hole posts that he's going through on his story. And I'm trying to hold it paused, and for some reason it just unpaused itself and started playing in front of me as you were talking. And I was like, oh my goodness, oh yeah. So when we're ready, I'm going to change gears and we're going to go to this next post of Harry's, because some people have got an opinion on it and some people haven't. Some people are aware of it. Some people have turned a blind eye to it. So yeah, is there anything you want to say before I change gear? Anything? Anyone?
No, I'll tell you what I was going to say. I was just going to, because it was a little while ago and we were talking about getting information. And one of the things I wanted you to do was repost the information for the, for people for financial help with the mortgages and the all of that stuff, the social credits and all of that. It makes sure that we repost all that information in this stream. That's all I was going to.
Yes. I can only do it for this country though. I'm not going to be able to do it for every country. I don't know what the rest.
Roxanne, I did take advice from your tutelage, and I went ahead and I signed up for StreamYard for a year. So I'll be able to have a bunch of people that I want to have on, and I just simply can't do audio podcasts and edit them like I want to be able to stay up with current events and be topical. So it's definitely something that I appreciate you, and I'm definitely gonna ask you some questions here coming up offline, so I can get a good idea how to do it properly.
Of course, yeah, I'll be more than happy to help you. More than happy. If you guys are all right, then I'm going to change gear and I'm going to talk about something that was discussed. It's constantly going around on Instagram. So I hope everyone's all right with me playing this, because it's a post of Noel's, and he shared it from it's been a lot of places, but this was reposted from Gretchen Strata, and it's got a ton of hashtags, which I'll be happy to show you. I'm not sure how long the post is. I'm not sure it's very long, so I'm just going to keep going along the post. I'm not really sure how long it is, but I'm going to play it and I'm going to ask you all your thoughts on it, if that's all right. And hopefully Noel will come back by then anyway. So
it has a lot to do with illegal immigration. All these people go missing. Virginia, so many kids per capita go missing in Virginia. Foster care is a huge CPS. It is a huge scam. CIA has been starting wars all over the world for as long as I've been alive, for as long as you've been alive. They start the wars, they cause the chaos, people die, and it's a really easy way to snatch children up. Haiti, the earthquake in Haiti. So many kids were taken from Haiti, and it's just there's a lot of Syria. Exactly. Where do they get
so
children?
That is just one of the posts. This is another one here.
I said some crazy shit on Twitter. That's true. Not something I wanted to say, but I'm fucking tired of people lying. I've watched these people just lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and lie.
Obviously, some of you all know who this is.
Lie, and they will never fucking tell the truth. Steph Green, sorry, my man. Fucking so sorry. I never wanted to do this, but you're a pedophile.
This is Hollywood actor Isaac Kappy. Yesterday, amid all these revelations about the culture of pedophilia in Hollywood, Isaac Kappy took to Twitter and made some pretty strong accusations about some pretty famous people. He then live streamed on both Instagram and Periscope, claiming that Twitter was shadow banning him, that his friends weren't returning his phone calls, and that people were afraid. And while obviously it's up to you to decide whether or not you believe him, I think it's important, especially in this climate, that we at least listen to what he has to say.
I could not sit around one more day. I said some crazy shit on Twitter. That's true.
Sorry, I played that one. So I'm gonna stop the feed there because it goes on to say more. Press 1 in chat room if you're aware of the situation with Isaac Kappy. Press 2 if you've never heard of it, don't know what we're talking about, and haven't got a first clue. And press 3 if you have heard of it but have just gone like that because you're like, yeah, I've already got shit in my life. I don't need this shit in my life. Sorry. Moving along. So 1 if you know, 2 if you don't, 3 if you have, but you're just like, yeah.
Isaac Kappy was a funny one because you can't really dispute what he was saying, but what I dispute was his reasons for saying it. I dispute why he was coming out. I think he was just trying to make. I think he was personally, just my personal opinion, I think he was a failed actor. He wasn't getting what he wanted, and he saw YouTube as a way to get temporarily famous and a bit of money. The suicide thing, I think if it wasn't staged,
he actually killed himself. Do you actually think he killed himself? Does anyone think Isaac Kappy?
No.
I
don't think he killed himself.
Press 1 if you think he killed himself. Press 2 if you don't.
I think you're passionate about anything like that. He doesn't sound like a wackadoo to me. Okay, I hear something like that, and I go, could be true, could not be. I don't know, but I don't see somebody like that talking that passionately about something and with so much vigor. And then they off themselves like a day or two later. It just doesn't add up to the pathology.
It wasn't a day or two later. There was quite a time that passed.
Okay.
While he was posting, and his state of being deteriorated. He got sort of scruffy. He went through.
I remember you following him
phases when he was scruffy. Well, yeah. I mean, I made a video about him. Quite quickly on his interview with Lifting the Fail. It was just for money, man. He was just doing it for money and notoriety. He wasn't, and what he was saying was true, but his reasons for saying it weren't genuine. He wasn't saying it. I don't think he gave a toss. Personally, I think that he might have ended up bedding he seemed like the sort of guy that would take anything that was given to him and then ask questions later. Or maybe feel bad about it later, but at the time it's just too messy. And he also looked like somebody that had, an issue with maybe either prescribed or non-prescribed drugs that he was using to. Do you not
think that's just us speculating though? Because we'll never really know, will we? I mean,
yeah, it is absolute speculation. But speaking from one drug user, I know what people look like when they're on drugs and when they're taking drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So when he outed Seth Green, was that he did a whole bunch of videos in a short period, right? Am I clicking to you guys?
Yeah, you're okay, darling. Yeah, you're okay. Yeah,
It's
you're
clicking
all
on this
good.
end.
We just played your regrams on Instagram of the Isaac Kappy bit. So yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, when he did that, I think it was pretty short before. I think he did maybe outed him fucked, or maybe had a fallout or something. But because then in his next few posts, he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, Seth, but you're a pedo." I think he kind of put himself in it. He maybe said something he wasn't supposed to say, and then just kind of decided to stick to his guns for a bit. And then I don't really know much about him after that, because the opinion I was given of him was exactly what you just said, Rich. And then I actually saw the rest of his posts, and I was like, whoa, this is all stuff I've been saying for a long time, except it's coming from you, and you died in exactly the way that Tom Hanks seems to have.
That's the bit I wanted to get to, because Tom Hanks tweeted, didn't he, something very weird before Isaac Kappy died, right?
Something like a landmark or a memorable Route 66 death or something like this, and then he said, "I hope not."
There's just 60 again. Not weird
yeah,
at all.
I think Kappy was capped. If he died, he was capped. I don't think he'd killed himself.
Yeah,
if he did die, I think he was taken out. And it wouldn't surprise me if it was someone like Tom Cruise. He works for he's with Scientology, isn't he?
Yes,
but
it
anything.
Doesn't matter the motive. It doesn't matter the motive. That it was.
Yeah.
It matters that that it did happen, and for whatever reason he was outing that information. Maybe it was for profit or notoriety. But at the end of the day, it pissed some people off, and it was too close to home. And he was in a viral situation where people were listening to the madman's ravings of a madman with crazy beard, and his hair is all disheveled and everything. But I mean, it looked weird to me and suspicious. Everyone wants to say, well, you just believe everything you hear. It's like, okay, well then what do you believe? Because that's the Epstein didn't kill himself. That's why that was continue to go on and on and on. And people were slipping it in interviews, sports stars and all this other stuff, which I really appreciated, because they're like, we're not going to let this go. And, it was like, well, if you believe that,
although we have
welcome to conspiracy theory. You are a conspiracy theorist. We're all sitting there going, he's incarcerated. How are they going to kill him? He's in federal lockup. They've got him under suicide watch. How's he going to kill himself? And they just did it. They just mocked us and just said, yeah, we're totally taking him out. What are you guys going to do about it?
May I go on, Rich? Sorry, darling.
I'm just going to bring up the fact that it is still, I think it is still disputed by many as to whether or not that was his body, the photo that was of his body. And I have to agree, because I looked closely at the ears, and there is this, the thing about the ears. The ear doesn't change. The nose gets bigger. But your ear might get bigger, but it doesn't change the shape of the inside. It's like a fingerprint. And it just didn't seem to be the same person. It seemed to be like they made a waxwork model of him. And if you look at the things that they can make now, like Madame Tussauds, those are pretty realistic, aren't they now? I think that they'd be able to do that, no problem at all. I do think that maybe it's possible that they say he's killed himself, they've whisked him off to Guantanamo, and they've just extracted as much information from him as possible, and they're either gonna execute him, or they're gonna just keep him incarcerated for the rest of his life, and we'd never need to know about him ever again anyway. So it doesn't matter if he's killed himself or not. It just matters that he's out of society and he's not able to function anymore. So
I've heard that.
Maybe he's been taken out and he's helping. Maybe he's helping now.
I mean, I've heard that same position, that they needed to extract as much as possible to know exactly who he was connected to for a damage control type of thing. But he was not going to be living for very long, no matter what. I can't find that video, by the way, Double, of the guy with the Harley Davidson shirt. And I had it in my favorites. So I don't know if it was scrubbed or not. I try to keep my post right at 3,000. I'm scrolling for the last half an hour trying to find that video, and I can't find it. So
shadow banned it from yourself.
I don't know. That's why I said to people, I put up a post that said, hey, think about the hashtags you use now, and don't use anything that intimates that you're talking about something that may not be the official story. Yeah. Because that's something that may have algorithms already that shadow ban you. So just put coronavirus, just put COVID-19. Don't put corona hoax. It'll show less than 100 posts, which we know is not true. 100 posts worldwide that people go Corona hoax. I mean, come on.
I've got another interesting one here that Harry shared on his Instagram. If it's all right with you, because I had a good little read of it, and I did find it quite coincidentally interesting. And I would just urge you all to just try and look at the amount of coincidences here that are ridiculously uncanny. Post by Chris Rizzoli. This morning at 4:30 a.m., our Prime Minister was served with a criminal indictment by the US for corporate and financial crimes. Media owners were instructed to historically brainwash everyone that the Prime Minister has coronavirus with his wife and that they won't be leaving their house for a while. Meanwhile, Tom Hanks was arrested 48 hours ago for paedophilia and is currently being kept in a hotel room in Australia, refusing to fly back to the United States of America. Next, celebrity arrests will be Celine Dion, Madonna, Charlie Barkley, Kevin Spacey. They will all claim coronavirus infections. Italy's airports have been completely shut down as over 80 of the Vatican and financial officials have been served the same criminal indictments for financial crime, paedophilia, child trafficking, and sex abuse. United Emirates have completed mass arrests of their own royal family and affiliates. Goes on to say, convicted Hollywood rapist Harvey Weinstein agreed to a deal in exchange for his testimony against hundreds of top Hollywood celebrities and their involvement in the drug business, pedophilia, and child trafficking. Instead of a 55-year sentence, he only received 23 years. In exchange, he provided testimonies against some of the biggest and most powerful names, including Prince Andrew of the UK, former President Bill Clinton, former Vice President Joe Biden, Tom Hanks, Oprah, Ellen, Quentin Tarantino, Charlie Sheen, Bob Saget, Kevin Spacey, John Travolta, Steven Spielberg, Podesta, the NXIVM and Pizzagate sex trafficking clubs, and hundreds more who were directly involved with Jeffrey Epstein. In exchange of Jeffrey Epstein's testimony, he was allowed to make a deal and have his suicide in prison faked. And goes on to say, CEOs of major international corporations have been indicted and arrested and have been forced to resign all in the last 30 to 60 days, such as CEOs of NBA, Harley-Davidson, Gates Foundation, Intel, McDonald's, Caesar Awards, Vatican Chief of Police, Disney. Approximately 700 to 800 more resignations are coming in the next 3 months. Lab-created coronavirus is a cover for the mass mandatory vaccination agenda, as well as a covert US intelligence operation that the world has never seen. And this mass 158,000 arrest program operation will remove and capture the biggest evil, corrupted politicians, celebrities, and CEOs, including elites and bankers such as George Soros, UN officials, founders of Greta Inc. Trump will continue the elections, and arrests of former US presidents will occur in early 21. All major arrests will be covered by media as an accident or conspiracy theory. All arrested individuals will be given a Romanil death, meaning choice between suicide and accidental death, in return for assurances that his or her reputation will remain intact. For face criminal trial that would result in public disgrace. Then goes on to say, public disgrace, what did it say there? Some top religious leaders will also be arrested or forced to resign. Some will get sick suddenly. The Vatican will be the first, and the Pope will be removed in 2020. Production of human extracted adrenochrome will be revealed, and Hollywood and Vatican will be directly responsible for it. There will be a 2-month complete shutdown of the world's most important common operations, such as schools, stock exchanges, and banks, airports, shipping, travel, events, galas, expos, sports games, sports championships, music award ceremonies, NBA, NHL, baseball games, football, all sports, ship cruises, including food shortage and staged electricity power loss. Gas prices will go down, food costs will go up, insurance will go up, gold, silver stocks will fall. Many corporations will either be bankrupt or take significant financial loss, as what's about to happen with Air Canada, Disney, and Coca-Cola. They're now saying the reason that we're basically getting removed off the streets is the retaliation is they are going to intentionally release some kind of flu or something.
H5N1.
The H5N1, yeah.
So you're saying something way worse than what?
Yeah.
Something
What
that
about
genuinely
that camel
kills people.
flu?
Something
What
like
about that camel flu?
Yeah.
Is
Let me
that
know
a, is
if
that a
you've heard
joke?
that before, anybody. That's
sounds like a
on
joke.
Noel's feed, but please in the chat room press 1 if you've heard
Is there
that
a camel
before, press
flu?
2 not.
Both myself and Roxanne have heard independently.
Sorry, my chair just broke.
That was like a delayed response. I was thinking, no, where are you going? Are you all right?
Yeah, my chair just broke.
Oh, babe.
Oh.
All right, give me a minute.
That's not fair. That is so not fair.
While he's recovering, I got a meme here, and I've heard this, so I'm not reading something that I haven't heard before. From Bill Gates, he said the world has 6.8 billion people. That's HUD'd up to 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 to 15%. What does that mean? Can that be misconstrued? What does that mean to you all?
You know what interests me most about that statement? I mean, it's all interesting, but you know what interests me most is when he says heading up to, like, why does he have a top figure? Why does he have a top figure for the growth? Like, why is 9 billion? Why does it's heading up towards 9 billion? And basically, we're gonna.
Yeah, where's that figure stemmed from? Where's that figure stemmed from? How is that figure? Why does he have that top figure in the first place? I'm of the same ethos.
Because I've heard that said so many times. The other day I heard it. I was like, wait, why does he have a top figure?
Yeah.
Why would you say it's 6 billion, 6.5 billion, whatever, heading up towards 9? Yeah. That's a strange statement.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely weird.
It's true.
But when he says that going to perhaps lower that by 10 to 15%, nobody in the audience goes, what?
Yeah.
What's
and when he says one of those numbers has to head towards 0, everyone laughs.
Yeah, what's the context of that? I haven't heard anybody say anything that's it's because da 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 da. Nobody in the audience does that either.
For myself, the reality of it is, I mean, we've been lied to about the size and the shape of the Earth. So I think there is a heck of a lot of, like, I don't think that this Earth is overpopulated. I think this Earth could probably take 4 times as many people on it as it has now. It's just the way the land is distributed, the way that we've got such a tiny, the 1% of the 1% that own everything, and they're saying, "Oh no, we haven't got enough. We haven't got enough. We've not got enough land. There's not enough housing." How many? I mean, you can take a helicopter ride over China and see there are cities. Entire cities that are empty of people, no people anywhere. Like, there's housing for millions of people all over. There's housing all over the earth for billions of people, just sat there, empty, derelict, disused. We don't. The problem is the distribution of, of basic amenities. I think everybody should be entitled to basic amenities, like somewhere to live, running water, a toilet, all the things on top of that, food and stuff.
You're starting to sound like a socialist, 00. You can't even say those things and anyone go, well, of course, because people will jump out on the right and be like, wait a minute, hold on.
That's the devil's trick, though.
Yeah, exactly. The false binary, because the Venus Project talks about that with Zeitgeist. Jacques Fresco talks about that in detail, about if and it gets to that point where, but the people at the top go, wait a minute, I can't have my fancy.
But that's because what you're picturing it in what you're in your mind. What I'm picturing is a world where tax is illegal. Tax is theft. Yeah, countries make
tax is theft.
Tax is theft, but countries make the money to operate and run from what they produce and what they export or whatever. That should be like, I think your president himself said it. America makes enough money. America, it can make enough money. They exported all the manufacturing, didn't they? But he's bringing it back and make America more self-sufficient. If each country is more self-sufficient, I'm not talking about a socialist. That's not what I'm imagining. I'm actually imagining
I hope you
more
got,
of a.
I hope you got the facetiousness from me saying that.
Yeah. No, but no, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think George Bush said on a meme, taxation is deathification.
Deathification.
I almost miss that guy now, to be honest.
I miss that guy. I think it's so funny.
Honestly,
his Bushisms, man. His Bushisms were awesome. I got propellerators. The propellerators up on the hill. I got that straight from Bush, man. I know that's what he would have said.
I had a bobblehead which had quotes from him. And he says, I know how hard it is to have to put food on your family. You can't claim high horse and then take the low road.
Tell you what, if Biden gets in, we'll give him a run.
There's a saying in Texas, maybe it's a saying somewhere else, fool me once, shame me. Well, fool will never get fooled again.
I presume you've seen Harold and Kumar when they just portray him as like a total pothead, and that's why.
Oh, is that what it is?
Have you seen Harold and Kumar? They have this.
I haven't seen it so long. He's just
this whole scene where they accidentally parachute into his rooftop and like he's just growing shitloads of.
And Joe Rogan, for everything I don't like about him, and I jumped off the Joe Rogan bus long ago, even before he was being mocked by Owen Benjamin. He did say that the reason they put Bush in the office is to see if people would vote for a dumb guy, and that they got somebody, and the evil guys are in the back going, I think we can go dumber. That was the coronavirus 1.0 of stupidity. Let's see if we get this guy in there who says absolutely, he gaffes constantly, just saying, and they're like, get him off the fucking stage. He doesn't. That's not a word. You're not using the preposition correctly.
I always thought that Clinton was a bit of a joker as well. So I just thought Clinton was a bit of a joker as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But he's eloquent. He was eloquent.
Yeah, he was.
A comedian, look this one up. There's a comedian named Frank Caliendo, and he does it everybody. But he says that, Clinton can tell you something and make you believe. He goes, I am not here. He says, what is here but there without a T? And you're like, wow.
Well, it depends on what your definition of is.
What the word
check.
That guy was washing his face with cocaine back in the Mena, Arkansas days. He was in charge of moving it, wasn't he? Yeah, before they made that movie with Tom Cruise called Made. I think it was Made in America. I already knew about Barry Seals and they finding George Bush's business card in his pocket. It's like, that guy got totally off, and I'm sure that, somebody in the Bush camp had something to do with it. Not the same body count as the Clintons, but that's bizarre.
No, everyone in the chat room had a good giggle with that one. Thank you, guys, and everyone in the chat room for putting their 2 cents worth there. Thank you for that, my darlings, because it's good to laugh. Laughter is good for the soul. Do you know what? I think we might need it
more than ever right now.
I haven't laughed like that all week. I haven't actually laughed like that all week.
You're all depressed and shit. I'm like, I gotta raise the vibration.
Yeah, we need a little giggle. We do need a little giggle.
It's not going unseen. CFR News has got some great comments.
Listen, shout out to CFR News. He's an absolute darling.
CFR News, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully see you again soon, my darling. We got the opportunity to meet him in Kidderminster last year. He came on out to Kidderminster. Myself and Dolly got to meet him. and we managed to spend some time with him. So again, shout out to you, my darling. Also watching and interacting like a real trooper in the chat room. And to all of you that are interacting, I'm seeing some brilliant interactions there, awesome comments. And as we're talking about things, you guys are putting things in as well. And that's how we're going to all grow. We're all coming across subjects here and talking about things that, admittedly, some of you guys in the chat room said, I've not come across any of this. I'm like, who's Isaac Kappy? What? Who?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a TM thing right there. Noel sent me something the other day. I just wanted to play it real quick. Actually, it's a little long, Roxanne, but this girl.
If you play what I think you're going to play, then I know for sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
I bet you
it's what I think it is.
I wrote a song about it. Here we go.
Is it what?
Hold on. Now I close my phone like a buffoon. All right. Let me see if I got her here. All right. Here we go. There we go. Hold on. Here we go.
So I wanted to do a video about this.
You hear that?
I've been posting in my stories for the last.
Oh yeah, that one.
Virus. And I don't watch TV ever. So when I'm back in Philly with my mother, she does watch the news, and she don't shake hands with anybody, don't hug anybody. So I finally had to break it down for my mother. I'm showing her all these different videos, and she finally gets it. Because she doesn't want to go to the gym, she doesn't want to go here. So all of a sudden, we have to all live in a bubble. Because of 55 deaths, I looked that up today. 55 people so far in the United States died of the coronavirus. From 2019, from October until February, 16,000 people died from the fucking flu. So you want to talk about a pandemic that 55 people died from this virus. And you're shutting down multi-billion-dollar corporations, and you think that it's because of this coronavirus. I mean, that's laughable to even say, because this has never happened. So I want to make this video because I want people to become aware of what's really happening. And in my stories yesterday, I talked about QAnon. Most people have no clue who QAnon is. No clue. I told my mom she looked at me like I was crazy, and then I started to show her videos of things, and she's like, wow, this all makes so much more sense. That they're not shutting down the entire world for a couple thousand people dying from a disease. The flu kills globally, 100,000 more than that? Italy's completely shut down. The Vatican has been raided, I think it's 15 times or more in the last 6 months, to try and get the financial records of where all the money goes in the Vatican, because they are a huge part of the global child sex trafficking ring. People are sitting there watching this saying, oh, she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. I grew up Catholic. There's so much evil behind Catholicism. It's all about the money. And child sex trafficking is a $150 billion industry yearly. 8 million children disappear annually under the guise of sex trafficking. When Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, that is what he meant. Because this sex trafficking and this huge cult has been around for centuries, from what I've researched, that there is a huge cult that has to do with child sacrifice. And it all sounds so crazy, and people are like, oh, that's crazy, you could never believe that. And this world's evil, and we're living it. We're living amongst it, and we don't have a clue. Because you turn on the TV, and you're sitting there like a zombie, eating exactly what they're giving you. And then you live with that, and you think that that is your reality. We have been so blinded by brainwashing that we don't even know what to believe anymore. But the majority of the people don't even question anything. The news will tell you something, and you'll say, oh, wow. You know how much crazy shit is going on? How many executives and CEOs of huge billion dollar corporations have stepped down within the last 6 months because they are all involved in this huge trafficking ring? Did you see it on your news? I doubt it, because they don't report it. The news is owned by the elitists and the globalists. They will tell you exactly what they want to tell you. That's it. You won't hear about shit. So then when you do hear about it on smaller news sources that are giving you factual information, you're not going to believe it. It's like, oh, I would have saw it. It would have been on the news. Oh, if it was that big of a deal, I would have saw it on the news. Learn to question everything. My whole life, I was was fucking rebellious because I questioned everything. And I found things out for myself. I didn't allow somebody to tell me something unless I did my own research to find out if it was true or not. And that's where we have to be, because there's too many coincidences. There's too many coincidences of things that happen at such a timely manner. And all of a sudden there's something that's been in the news forever. And then, well, that didn't pan out, so they want to distract you with something else. And it works. You don't hear about the impeachment. There's nothing about the impeachment anymore. It's a failure. And now it's the coronavirus. There's always something to distract you. We live in the Truman Show. I've been saying that for years. If you ever saw the movie with Jim Carrey, The Truman Show, that's what we're living in. They know every move that everybody makes, especially social media. You tag yourself wherever you go. You're posting about things. You're talking into your phone, and all of a sudden, fucking advertisement pops up of something that you were just talking about. That's scary. It's time for everybody to wake up. So one of the things you have to look up, QAnon. I said that in my stories yesterday. If you didn't say it, look up QAnon. You can hashtag QAnon on Instagram, and that's where you'll find it. Because if you Google it, they're going to tell you that it's some conspiracy theorists, these tinfoil hat wearing people. But every Q post cannot be disputed, because everything that Q has said for the last 2 or 3 years has been true. So you need to start opening your eyes, because there is a much bigger picture here. And I'll say it, and I'll say it every single day. And I'm going to keep posting things, and I'm going to post things in my stories so that I'm educating people and helping people open their eyes. I'm not some fucking tinfoil hat wearing goofball. There is a whole movement of QAnonymous, and this is real. We might be quarantined for 2 weeks, so hopefully you have what you need to have in your home for yourself to keep yourself safe. But it has nothing to do with the virus. There are over 100,000 arrests that are supposed to be made of very higher ups within this next couple weeks. And this is all part of the process of what's really happening. Sex trafficking has been going on forever. Another thing, look up adrenochrome. You want to shit yourself? Look up adrenochrome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That was well said. She said that.
Look up the name of Google's computer.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about Crystal's post, and I actually found this on We Are Waking Up, and I sent a message to them thinking this was Crystal, and they were like, "It's not Crystal, but thanks for promoting the truth and all that." And it ends up that this girl, you look at her Instagram, and she's almost exclusively doing modeling pictures and whatnot. She just seems like she just got fed up and like said, well, let me open up my mouth about this. And now it looks like she might be, a truther. But everything she said on there is spot on. I mean, there's the child trafficking thing. It's all there. It's right there. If you want to access it. They found tons of child porn on the freaking computers of all these people in the Pentagon. These people that that are supposed to be the forefront of our national security, they're all into weird shit. It's bananas. It's really mind blowing.
I've also what she was saying to go and look at. I also popped that in the. She was saying to go and look at QAnon. I popped the link for the Q map in the chat room so that even I would implore, don't let a few people put you off going to actually look for yourself. Go look at yourself. Go look at the supporting evidence are there, and then ask yourself how many coincidences need to happen before it's mathematically impossible.
I was put off very early on, and then thankfully I looked at it again with new eyes, and also the benefit at the time. So one of the Q posts is past proves future, isn't it? And it is like now back then, right, when it started, now was the future. And I'm sat here now, everything that's he said in the past has now been proved. That's the thing. Everything that's been said over the last 2 years is now starting to be, we can see kind of correlations, can't we, with what's going on now.
Yeah. Like I said, there's so many coincidences now. You can't really, even someone that's like quite skeptical about things like that can't even go, right, should we all just say this is just one? They just so happen to need to unseal these indictments. There just so happens to be all of these now political leaders getting, removed out of the public eye under the guise of, and then And then I was thinking about it the other day, and then relating it to some of the kind of conflicting conversations I've had. And then,
leave her alone.
And you just look at everything that's on the table right now, right? I can hear people going, well, look,
she's still doing it.
Maybe that would be the case if they stopped flights. I mean, maybe that would be the case if they shut down all the schools, and maybe that would be the case if they would like to stop leisure and tourism everywhere. And it's like, well, how far does this have to go before everyone takes it seriously?
The question is, how slow does it have to go for them to keep on coming up with a reason
if
for
this
it
is
not
a
to be
dry
the case?
run. Yeah, real talk. If this is a dry run, then what's a real one supposed to look like?
Well, Roxanne, you have to change your life drastically when you believe any of this stuff. You can't. It's not all puppy dogs and ice cream. You can't sit around and watch, whatever sports du jour is going on. You can't. It's like, are you going to react to what's really going on? Or are you going to just be like, well, that's too much for my senses. I can't deal with that. Let's get back to.
I think the general public's now being forced to face whatever's coming. There's no bread. There's no circuses. There's no work. There's no distractions. In a few days, the whole world is going to be watching and waiting for, they don't even know. There's Italians already. Who else is the Spanish, right? The Spanish are already leaning out. Any Spaniards that can get to a window have been banging pots in protests during the King's speech, banging pots and pans from their balconies. I've seen videos all over the internet today while they're under lockdown. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. Yeah, basically, they almost drowned the king out. Is broadcast his address to the nation in protest over a scandal involving his father. It seems like that's now taking over. It seems like the leaks leaking right out. Do you remember when we were talking about the money that he gave back and he was like, he did a Harry and went, well, I don't want nothing to do with you nasty, sick fucks.
Yes.
Yeah. It seems to be like leaking. It seems to be now taking over the guise of the coronavirus. Yeah, repeating in an earlier protest at noon, the people in central Madrid, summoned by a call on social media, demanded that the former King Juan Carlos donate millions that he had reportedly received from the Saudi Arabian to the struggling health system. The applause for this is for those that take care of us. The pans are for the corruption money that go to our health system. So they're being quite symbolic with what they're doing. And it seems that they're not stopping. So he's being forced to give money to the people. It's almost like a silent Robin Hood. When you look at all of the war chests that these governments are opening up, and you look at the oppressive system that's just been brought to a standstill, it's almost like the Monopoly game. Someone's gone, right, now we've got all your money, stop. You can't get it, freeze, everything, stop. Now you guys, you need money. So I'll tell you what, we're going to change this soon anyway. It's going to be worthless in a hot minute. So how about you get some? It's almost like Oprah. You win, you all get to win. Win.
And just
win.
like
Money
Oprah, when the
everyone.
cameras stop, it all gets taken back.
Right. And the joke of it is, and this is the bit that we laugh at, but how much of the oppressive system has serviced all of our lives? Just put a 1 in the chat room if it has, and a 2 if the oppressive system has never affected you because you've never bounced into it in the first place. So I want to see a 2 from someone who's lived off grid all their life and never had to dip their toe. Yeah. So I think in order for the oppressors to be taken out, their system first has to be destroyed. And if that system service us, then there's going to be a little sore rip from the band-aids getting pulled off of us, because those plasters have been on for a long time. And some of us have just got used to them like they're our actual skin. So when those band-aids get ripped off, it's going to be raw. I've broken both of my arms. I was a Calamity Jane, like I said to everyone on Sunday. I've broken both of my arms. I've broken both of my legs, my hip. I've been in the wars throughout my life. Now, anyone who's had a broken arm or a leg and had a plaster cast on knows that after a while of your arm being in there, it kind of gets used to being in that cocoon. And when it comes out, it just looks all dry and nasty and just not able to cope with the environment that it's in.
Emaciated.
And everything. It's all yuck. That's what it feels like life is going to be like. I'm trying to give an analogy for what this next stage is going to feel like. All of it's going to be yuck. All of it. All of us are going to have to be purging certain things out of our system that we never thought we'd have to say goodbye to. because we just thought it was a given, a bit like the ball before we woke up to that. It was all a given, all of this. It's all just a given. This whole infrastructure was all safe. We can just go to the shop and we can do this. And look at what's been coming to a climax recently, guys, in the background. This whole factory farming thing, it's not sustainable. The grain and everything, how we live our whole lives is like so wrong in so many ways. You see how difficult it is to try and navigate it and live a clean life within the infrastructure that you've got to live and work in. You know, most of us that have woken up to these things, we've tried to adapt our lives around our work and our friends, and we've tried to not partake into the things that we would partake into when we were asleep. And that has been difficult for me, definitely difficult for me. I've had to, you know, change the way I live drastically in certain aspects. But what we're looking at now is we're already looking at army guards making sure people can't queue in queues over 100. Yeah, we're already being told to buy what we're being given. Yeah, I looked at the shops today, and if I did attempt to buy anything, then I was only buying what was there. And you know, it reminds me a little bit of the USSR in the 1980s. McDonald's was open, but there was only 2 things on the menu, and people still queued around Red Square for it for 2 miles, to be not given a choice, to be given one drink, one option, and that was what they were spending a week's wage on.
I remember that.
Yeah, I do too. So, you know, I will reiterate again, it looks to me like the oppressors are being taken out, because where are they? Where are they making noise? Where's all the noise and chatter that they used to make? Where's all the hoax of the impeachment gone? Where's all the Australian fires gone? Let's just remember all the madness that they were pulling off a little minute ago that they're not pulling off now. Yeah, they're not going to be doing a school shooting, because guess where the kids are? Not at school. They're not going to be blowing up any stadiums, because guess who's not at football games anymore? None of us. They're not going to be blowing up any freaking shopping malls or restaurants, because guess who's not eating out and shopping anymore? Us. I feel like if every leader is saying that we're fighting a war with an invisible enemy, then when in God's earth has humanity gone to war and the citizens been told to go home? Just go home. Nothing to see here. It's not your fight. It's not our fight, guys. We're caught up in the middle of this. It's not our fight.
Someone
Whatever's
should clip
going
that
on,
minute of Roxanne there. That was passionate.
Sorry, yeah, I just wanted to have it said, because it felt right to say it at that moment. But this is my gut feeling. I'm definitely not trying to brainwash anyone or put my opinions.
No.
Me, this is what it feels like for me.
But our generation, from when we were in school, acid rain.
I concur.
Ozone hole in the ozone
acid
layer.
rain.
Yeah, the hole in the ozone layer. Where did that go? You know, those are.
Yeah. Do you remember that? The hole in the ozone layer, man. I was worried about spraying my deodorant. I had to stop spraying my deodorant because they said
hairspray.
CFCs, yeah.
Yes, exactly. CFC. Yep.
Yeah.
CFCs, that was it.
So we're all about the same age. Does anyone else remember Michael Jackson and E.T. coming on in sometime around 1991? It was like a live thing. Michael Jackson and E.T. telling everyone to freaking save the planet, and then like Mother Earth suddenly appeared. I remember it was some blonde woman in a white dress. Does everyone else remember this? Because I've not been able to find footage of this anywhere, and I'm beginning to believe that I hallucinated it. But I remember Michael Jackson.
I've just got to let my dog out and let him back in again, please.
It was the weirdest shit, and now I look back at it, it was proper brainwash. It wasn't God or Jesus. It was Mother Earth. It was like Gaia, Michael Jackson. Probably in between the two pedophile accusations. After the first one, it kind of wasn't a big deal.
Like
before the second one.
They do a one-off commercial where it's not like something goes on and on again. You know, they do it one time.
Sorry, Double O. I can't hear anything. I can only hear you singing.
Oh, sorry. No, it might be like when they do the Super Bowl commercials where it's a one-off. You only get to see it one time. And then, you know, you don't get to see it again. Those are the kinds of things I think about, you know, where they put in some serious programming, but because, you know, 2 billion people are watching, you know.
I have looked for that and I cannot find it. But sure. I mean, I remember it vividly. I mean, come on, that's something you remember. Michael Jackson and E.T. in the same moment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was an E.T. freak. I was in second grade. I was 9.
When
8 or
E.T.
9.
came out?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I was born when E.T. came out. That was 82, right? So yeah, I was born that same year, and I remember watching it when I was about 4, and he scared the crap out of me. And the next time I saw him was when he was with Michael Jackson, who I loved, and it was a weird moment for me. But that was at the same time as like Captain Planet, which you probably weren't affected by, but I very much was. Captain Planet was one of these cartoons that was very brainwashy. Oh, there's Michael Jackson and E.T. in a photograph right there. Yeah, it was all live and on like a very elaborate stage.
Yeah. This is all I could find. It's got the full story audio book. But what was that song that I was singing? What was that called? With the piano. It starts with the piano, doesn't it?
Is that you?
Yeah, it's me. It's me.
Oh, it's all right. It's a
I don't know
beautiful
why.
song. I want to sample it.
What's going on?
You know,
I gotta go. I'm being grabbled. I'll see you guys soon.
See you in a sec.
See you, man.
Yeah, I know the song. I can't remember the name of it. I know that it has a key change in the middle, and it's got lots of backwards footage of animals and trees being cut down. And Michael Jackson punches the ground a lot.
Yeah, it's not What About Us.
Earth Song.
It's,
Earth Song.
Earth Song. That's it.
Yeah. So I think it wasn't long after that Michael Jackson started to wake up himself, and that was pretty close to the end of his career at that point, because he suddenly started.
After he gave that speech,
he started going. Yeah, he started going very against the system and calling people the devil. Some Mutler, some Sony guy.
He stood up on stage, didn't he, and said about how he realised that actually he kind of was a majority shareholder of Sony or something, technically, because he basically built their business.
Yeah. Oh, actually, shout out to someone who's watching, because she's a huge Michael Jackson fan, Olga from Ukraine, although she lives in Malta. Hello. She laughed a lot at me falling off the chair.
I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, man. I don't believe that he was a paedophile myself. I don't believe that he did that.
Well, I don't either, although I put myself in the 50% category, but I don't believe that he was, because he was going to be doing Hook with Steven Spielberg, and at some point in the middle of that, there was they had some party at Neverland Ranch, and then not long after Michael Jackson fell out with Steven Spielberg, and immediately after that, all of the accusations about Spielberg about Michael Jackson occurred, almost like they were made to happen as a result of something. Like, you know how one thing we've noticed is that, I have to say these people because it's hard to say who they are, but they project their actions onto you. So if they're a pedophile, they'll call you a pedophile, and
they'll call you a pedophile. Yeah,
they will provide people to make the accusations and everything.
Yeah,
and all the media will know about it probably at the same time you realize about it.
Yeah, that's a key part of their
tactic.
Yeah, the tactic is the projection, isn't it? It's the same with it's like a narcissistic sociopathic projection, right? Yeah, it's common in a lot of crazy ass people like that, man. Where's Rox gone? Is she taking
about
Kenny
that time?
out?
It's about the time she's walking the dog and putting the kids to bed, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. We don't actually have any control over the stream, so we're gonna have to keep it going, dude.
Well, real quick, because we touched on this a lot earlier, adrenochrome. Did you ever see Alibaba's adrenochrome sales? Alibaba, are you familiar with Alibaba?
Alibaba is in the company that
the online
is
sale of
connected to
everything.
AliExpress.
The same company.
Yeah, connected to AliExpress. Yeah.
I mean, if you're connected, you're on a computer now and you have the ability to share your screen, go to their website. Can you share the screen? Your screen?
Yeah.
If you go to their website and search adrenochrome, it was still on there 2 days ago when I looked for a very large price for a very small quantity. And I only ended up there because some of the memes, some of the posts I was picking up on Instagram was stating that the place of manufacture was Wuhan, China. And I found that interesting because that would be another reason for all these people getting sick and dropping off the radar, wouldn't it? If their adrenochrome supplies are being being wiped
It
out by
would
front
be
and
a
center.
good reason.
Yeah, Rox is back.
I'm
Rox
here.
is back. She can find it and share the screen.
Where did
Oh, there you
Hoodie
go.
Daddle go?
Oh, he was getting grabbled. He was having some extreme kiss level feedback issues. So
No fair.
he waddled off, and he'll be back.
So it says Steven Spielberg is the suspected murderer of the actress in Poltergeist. Yes, Londerground's probably had a look at your feed as well. What were you saying on that?
So I've heard not that it was him, that it was a bunch of producers who'd taken her to a back room. I think Jamie Deluxe actually did a really good bit on this. If no one's familiar with Jamie Deluxe, capital D-L-U-X, no, there's no D-E, it's Deluxe. He's really good because he just goes a lot through, what do they call it? I think they're called blind items. It's like a website where people post anonymous things, and they reference people with initials and lose information. So, for example, if I were describing Kevin Spacey, I might say Oscar-winning actor who played a four-lettered alien who was actually a mental patient, rather than actually saying Kevin Spacey. And then I might initial him as KS. Oh wait, no, that doesn't work because Kaiser Soze is the same initials as Kevin Spacey. Never mind. You'd then give him the initial as a character, or perhaps you'd give him the name of the state he was from. So it's all very loosely veiled truth, blind items, and he goes through those and he does great exposés. Jamie Deluxe.
Cool. Thank you for that. I'm going to give a shout out to the chat room because they've been going like the clappers while we've been live, guys. So a big shout out to, and I'm just going to put all of you up on the screen as I go through. Mighty Atom, lovely to see you in the chat room as well. Faisal, great to see you. Local Experimentalist, lovely to see you too. Tanks on Motorway. Yep, I'll have a look. I saw Martin Luca shared something on Instagram yesterday. I'll take a look there, Tech. Thank you, my darling. And to Raymond B, shout out to you as well. Astral Thief, lovely to see you in the chat room. Miss Q, gorgeous girlie, lovely to see you in the chat room. Donna Landrum too. Thank you so much for being in the chat room and giving us all your interactions. Tommy Rogers, great to see you too as well. First Munch, I had to just go and deal with the kids quickly. That's where I ran off to. I saw that in another comment of yours. So shout out to you for giving us all your interactions. And again, to Astral Thief, everyone's giving some great interactions as well. Dividante as well. Lovely to see you too. Arwin's in the chat. Hey, Arwin, you're not normally in my chat. Lovely to see you as well. Thank you for tuning in. Lunderground. As I said before, that was his comment from before, but you've been giving some great comments this evening in the chat room as well as CFR News as well. You're still in the chat room. Lovely to see you still interacting. Cy Greenheart, lovely to see you as well. Remember Jarvis Cocker at the Brits with the Earth song? Nice one for that. I do. Riddle me this. Strange, if Michael was abusing children, any women would have slept with him back in the day. Would they have? I don't know. Marcus Hall, long lingering bacteria shedding group hugs you all. Thank you, my darling. Amanda Panda, where's the tanks? Yeah, I'll check that out as well. One Walking Life, lovely to see you as well. Astro Zombie, great to see you too. And Burnaby Lee, Mike, lovely to see you as well. Pat Riot, lovely to see you too. And Thomas Groyne, lovely to see you as well. Billy Boy, Nick GB. And if I've missed anyone, I'll come back to you. Russell Red as well. Great, go for it now.
I've forgotten his name. There was one of the Flat Earth guys. Arwin, was it? He was saying that adrenochrome doesn't necessarily come from a human source, and I think adrenochrome is just the name for oxidized adrenaline, right? So you can use epinephrine or things like that as well to create it. I think the reason for its popularity is because it's popular within the satanic cults. adrenalized blood is apparently a very addictive. I wouldn't know, but it's apparently a very addictive and popular drink. I've hung out with a lot of Satanists, but these were soft Satanists who, if you told them that people abuse children, they wouldn't believe you because they see Satanism and Luciferianism as the savior of the tyranny of religion, and religion in their mind is the source of all war and suffering. So, you know, they're not necessarily bad people at that level, but I happen to hang out with people the level above that, and I was like, oh, get me the hell out of here, goodbye.
Yeah, you knew right away it wasn't for you. Yeah,
pretty much
the
like, end of everything for me. I couldn't really work in the music industry, film, or anything else after that. I couldn't climb that ladder any higher.
You were like, yeah, I'm out. I'm actually
out. I'm out. There's no way I want to get. I want to achieve that.
Yeah, it seems that it was starkly obvious to you that you were like, yeah, cut me out. I don't want to know.
It was like overnight. It was just like, there's no way I want to progress any further. Like, you know, the drive, you know, the belief that all this work will one day pay off just vanished. So, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry if I'm looking distracted. I'm getting like loads of videos sent to me and links and all sorts. I've just had I'm gonna have to take a look at that again because I'm getting sent the same thing. I've got a friend that lives in the area itself and is saying that they've been caught up in it today, and I've had people sending videos of it all over the country today. And which is so I'm once I get offline, I'm gonna
videos of what, the military or this bomb thing? Because I couldn't find anything about this bomb thing.
I won't say too much about it. I won't show too much about it, but I've been made aware of a situation by a friend, right? There's also a video circulating online, right? Which seems to corroborate it's the same area. My friend herself was caught up in it with her brother, apparently. She doesn't have any video of it, but the video that's circulating around online is exactly the area she said she was caught up in this morning. So I'm like,
they've kept this out of the news, and if it's happened,
they have, yeah, they have. So
like even offline.
Yeah, from her point of view, there was agitators there. There was people inciting it to happen, and then people have followed suit once they've seen a couple of people go in there and smash and grab other people. So I don't want to fuel anything because I truly feel, this is just my personal thing, I feel like it's like Soros desperation at this point. I feel like they're desperate. They really need the people to like not do as they're told, innit? And I'm not going to give them any fuel. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to share that kind of crap around. And I really feel bad for the people that have been caught up in that today. We've been talking about collateral damage all week. In fact, for 2 weeks now, how not to become collateral damage, because this apparently isn't our fight. And so I'm not going to be partaking in any riots or any thuggery that I see, because I'm going to wonder to myself, how did we get here? Who was the first person that decided to smash that window and go and do that? Is that how we behave? Is that us? Is that really us, though? Because the last time I saw riots like that was when Mark Duggan was taken out. And so it makes you start to question a lot of things that have happened before. Do you know what I mean? Because I've lived in London for a long time now. And like none of my personal friends, no matter what walk of life they're coming from, and I'm not going to go into my personal life to say that. I'm just saying there's people from all walks of life, and no one's talking about behaving like that. No one's talking about behaving like that. So when I'm seeing that, I'm going, right, yeah, that was probably instigated by a hidden agenda. They definitely need people to cause madness and get caught up in madness. So, yeah, Faisal. Yeah, so shout out to the people that know. You'll understand why I'm not about to share that video. I don't want to share that video. If anyone's been hurt, I definitely don't want to share that video.
I've got to say, I'm afraid that I personally know a couple of people that would love to be in England now and have an opportunity to go and raid shops, because we were talking the other day, and they were like, oh yeah man, God, I want to go around raid a shop.
Can I just answer Astral Thief? No, looting's not been confirmed, my darling. It's just there's a pocket of a situation that's happened today, and it looks like it may have been instigated by some kind of malevolent people or situations, not by
they're going to try and set people.
Yeah.
No, they want to set people against each other. They
Yeah.
want to set people against people. So they're going to try and incite situations by.
Well, I guess they want to justify the
engineering.
military action, right? So,
Yeah.
Correct.
Like,
you've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
No, you've hit the nail. They
I
need
mean,
they need to
that would
create a
stop any
perfect
protest,
situation.
right? If there was a
Correct.
situation like, oh, well, luckily the military's already posted everywhere, so
Yeah.
that's the end of that.
Yeah, perfectly said. Perfectly said. So yeah, I won't be sharing that. If you've seen that anywhere else online, fair enough. But I just don't think it has a place to be shown here. We'll see how that situation pans out. I'm in London myself. Noel's in Malta. Richie is in Tenerife on the Canaries. So as you all know, I'm in the capital city of England. So we'll see how the situation progresses here in London. But I'm all corona'd out, guys. I'm corona'd out. Can we corona on? Can we corona move on? I wanted to go. I know I'm like hogging your like story on Instagram now. And I don't mean
Roxanne,
to.
could you very quickly do something for me?
Of course.
Could you go to Alibaba and search adrenochrome?
Yeah.
Yes, this is what because you can share the screen. You know?
Yeah, what are you talking about,
really see the
Alibaba?
screen.
Talk to me. What's Alibaba?
Alibaba
is like it's like a Chinese site that sells everything for like way cheaper prices than we get.
Rox, do you
Am I
remember?
going to get in trouble?
Do you remember we watched? No. I don't know. Right.
Sure.
But do you remember, Rox?
I mean, I've done it here, but I can't share the screen.
Okay.
Do you remember that we watched a video, right, by one of our favorite channel creators, and they were mentioning China and Alibaba, and that they were using Alibaba for this. It's that Alibaba.
Okay. Am I showing the right thing? Hold on, let me just do this and let me just show you.
I mean, it should come up. I checked.
Is that it?
Yesterday.
Is this it?
That's the one.
Okay.
Okay,
so what do I do?
Now, if you search adrenochrome in the search bar, and it should come up.
Nice echo there.
And I think it will show you little pouches of red powder. Wow, that's weird.
Have I spelled it right? Sorry.
I think even if you didn't, it would still come up as something. Echo. Hello.
Sorry.
ARENO and then Chrome. But all as well.
With the H or without?
CHROME.
Yeah, nothing came up.
Wow. So yesterday it did. Let me check. Maybe it's a country filter. Go. Alibaba. Yes. Alibaba.com. Is that where you went? Or AliExpress?
Alibaba.com.
Okay. Pretty sure that's where I went as well. I want it in the app. It's come up straight away.
That is crazy.
Okay, go on, yeah. Ew.
Look at that. You get it. Let's see if I get it.
Yo.
For 0.1 kilograms. So 100 grams. That seems actually like a quite reasonable price.
What? Bring us up to speed, boys. Bring us up to speed. What are we talking about?
Apparently the elite drug of choice and why they like to scare the crap out of kids, cut their throats and drink their blood. Because
adrenochrome. I got it.
You got it?
No way.
But as Owen was saying, it's not necessarily from that source. It can be artificially manufactured.
Okay.
Yeah, because like you said, because cool, there is a mad echo. What's it called? Epinephrine. If you have it too long, if it's too old, it starts to oxidize, and that's adrenochrome in there, isn't it?
It would be, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I read the Wikipedia article on the
We really need to sort this echo out, guys.
I can't hear an echo.
I'm guessing. Yeah,
Can the chat room hear an echo? I can't hear an echo. Can anyone in the chat room?
Yeah, I can hear it.
I can't.
For me, it's about 800.
It's only when me and I can hear me echoing and I can hear Noel echoing. It's just putting me off.
Go on, I'll put my mute on. I will put my mute on, and then you guys see if the echo still carries on.
Okay, mine's about 1,000 milliseconds delay. What's yours? Speak.
No, it's still there.
Yeah, yours is real short. Yours is like 8 milliseconds to me.
Right, now one of you two mute, and we'll carry on talking. We'll work out whose mic's doing it.
I am muted. Yeah, this isn't making any noise. So.
Yeah?
No.
Okay. So, Rich, you?
Oh, it's back. It was...
Yeah. So are we still hearing an echo when Rich was on mute?
Okay, I'm going to go again.
Okay. No worries. Rich, can you still hear?
It can't. I've got earphones on.
Have you still got an echo?
Yeah.
I haven't got an echo. I'm fine. I really can't hear an echo. I can't hear you either now because you're on mute.
Exactly. So I don't know if I've got an echo.
Okay.
Oh, I have got an echo.
All right. So come out and come back in then, bro.
Tap your speaker. Tap your microphone. This is your mic. Sorry,
the
chat
echo
room.
started when I shared the screen.
There
we go.
Yeah, I did.
Right. I bet the echo's gone now. I bet the echo's gone.
Yep, the echo's gone now.
Has it? Okay, so hopefully we've sorted that out. Hopefully that little technical glitch there is all sorted for you. Lovely. So, I'm a little bit itching to get into the next bit on Harry Noel's story. As I said, he's got lots of interesting bits and pieces in there. Do you have anything that you want to chime in with before I move on to the next bit?
No.
No?
Not really.
Sure? You're right? Sure? Yeah?
I'm right.
Yeah?
I just had to, because we'd been sat here for like nearly 3 hours, so I had to go and have a pee and make a coffee.
Okay,
I've
well,
done that, so.
It's 7 minutes past 11. It's 7:11, 11:07, right?
That keeps happening.
What time is it where you are, everybody in the chat room? Can you tell us what time it is where you are in the chat room? It's just gone 11 p.m. in the UK. So I will just say the time here. 7 p.m. And where is it where you are? Please let us know roughly what time of day it is where you are. And the next subject I want to delve into is another subject that you talked about on your post with the Instagram. You did repost March Madness. Why did you repost March Madness? I'm interested to know your line of think. Why did that resonate with you?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
You have to remind me of the post, to be honest. I reposted
you know the Q
50
post
things
that
today.
says March Madness? It's just 2 Q posts that say March Madness.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, some things I just repost because I think if that pops up in the next 2 days, I just like to say that I've reposted it. So it's not so much... Q doesn't necessarily resonate with me. But I have noticed that Q seems to be right about 2 years... They seem to be about 2 years ahead of things.
Like Neighbours back in the day. Do you remember Australia's Neighbours?
I used to love Neighbours.
And we were always behind in the UK. Do you remember like we had like 2, 3, 4 seasons behind theirs?
We were a very long way behind, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird. It sounded like
so
you
were... It's a bit like that. So it's like a bit like that, yeah? We're a bit behind 2 years.
But yeah, the Q post stuff that sort of seems to be relevant 2 years after the fact. So it's a little bit too late for it to feel relevant. But then you look at the post, and you're like, oh, that does kind of perfectly describe today. But, at the same time, I'm one of those people who was always surrounded by people who would like read horoscopes, and they'd always sound kind of like me. But if I went around every single star sign, they'd usually have something that kind of sounded like me. I'm just very aware of the power of cold reading. It's quite fantastic. You say certain things and they kind of apply to everyone.
They do.
This doesn't seem to be the case with Q, but some of the things are like you could be fishing there a little bit. But I still post them.
But either way, it's good because you're skeptical, but you still post them, even when they resonate with you, regardless, which is good.
Well, because there's people saying that it's complete nonsense, and no, it's not complete nonsense. It's either white hats or, in my head, it's Mossad. Because that kind of makes sense to me. It's like, because they never seem to mention Twin Towers, for example, and that's always been one of my big figure outs. Like if someone goes, if anyone, no matter how much, any politician, they're like saying a bunch of things I like, and then they say something about that there's so many terrorists of 9/11, I'm instantly like, okay, well, you're part of the system, whether you know it or not, because everyone with a brain knows that was bullshit.
Yeah.
What if Mossad are more
the white hats?
Like what if they're actually more white hat than black hat?
I find it very hard to believe, but in such a messed up world, it is believable.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like
I've known Mossad.
Everything's upside down. Everything is upside down. So it sort of makes sense. But
like
yeah,
the fact that I've always been so
it's
against
just
the mistreatment of the Palestinians, and yet that is apparently a leftist position now. Just like, no, I'm not a leftist anymore. I don't want to have any leftist positions, but I am still really anti that, and I will probably never support Israel until that situation changes, which it never will. Obviously, it's very clear it's not going to change. But I am aware that a lot of people don't feel that way, and I'm not going to get into any arguments about it. Like I avoid the conversation.
Yeah, the thing is that it's such a difficult thing, because as soon as you say anything, you get labelled as anti-Semitic.
Well, luckily,
if you're
I've been labelled anti-Semitic so many times for ridiculous things that it doesn't bother me anymore, and luckily, I've never had it affect a job. Touch wood.
No,
because it could.
Good on you. I don't want to.
Well, if you worked in America, it definitely would. If you worked in America, it definitely could, or at least make it difficult for you to get insurance in certain states.
I wouldn't be able to get insurance, would I?
What do you? Obviously, we've been talking every day, guys. What do you think's changed in the last couple of days that may have made you change your outlook on what you reckon the next few days are gonna be for you, forecast wise? Because for me, it almost keeps updating hourly. I'm personally looking forward to actually having some time to spend some quality time with my kids instead of having to run around all the time. What about you two?
For me, I've just been at home for the last couple of days and enjoyed the time with my dog and with what I do, what I get on with. I like watching silly stuff and I like watching serious stuff. And I've just really been taking it easy. I've slept a lot more than I should have done. Seeing the security van outside, doing the announcement, that was weird. I was half expecting it, but I don't know. It's like this whole lockdown. I was sort of half expecting it. It came a lot quicker than I thought it would. I thought I had a bit longer to work and earn money to be able to then pay for my living during, that didn't happen. So I don't know quite what's gonna happen now, but I know but everybody knows that we're all in the same boat.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Everybody knows we're all in the same boat. So
yeah, no, well done.
People will show their true colors now.
Yes,
people will show their true colors now.
Absolutely right. I'm assuming the same is the same for you, Noel. your work situation's changed drastically. You've now got a ton of time to spend with baby girl, and you're kind of limited to what you can do as well now, right?
Well, I always spend a lot of time with baby girl. She's with me all the time, and I can only work when she's not at school, and she's only at school from 7 a.m. till 1. So I'm with her every single day, all day, and I'm usually with her on the weekends unless her grandparents have her or if her mother's free. But on the plus side, Marley isn't. This sounds a bit terrible, but she's not around all the other kids, which. So when she's just with me, she her behavior is slowly improves and she becomes more manageable and she becomes a little bit more ladylike and easy to deal with. And then when she goes to school, she learns all the bad habits of everyone else and uses every single one of them against me, and it's kind of hell. It's a hell I'll look back with joy and a smile on my face, but it's really just exhausting, difficult hell, because it's like playing chess with a grandmaster at all times, and I'm always exhausted because it's just non-stop mind games.
Yeah, I can relate, darling. I can relate. You are not on your own. You are not on your own with that. That is the daily plight of us parents. But I can't commend you enough. You're doing an absolutely outstanding job. I see all the activities that you and baby girl get up to, and you're an absolutely doting, hands-on father, and for that you can't get enough credence as far as I'm concerned. So I want to shout out you because you're one of
as
those
I said in my
dads.
comment. As I said in my comment on your post, on your Instagram post, mate, you're a role model for men and for fathers, like everywhere. Not just for fathers, for men, for all men. You're a good role model, dude.
I take most of my beats from my own dad and Owen Benjamin, to be honest. I was very inspired by Owen Benjamin.
Good.
I had my child before him, but halfway through having him, me and the mother separated, and I was watching a lot of him, so it was very inspirational.
Shout out to Owen Benjamin, inspiring other people to level themselves up and be, I like how Janine says it. Actually, I will give Dolly a shout out for this because she says it so many times. It's almost like you're turning into the person that you've been waiting for. The person that you've been waiting for you to be is the person that you're turning into and trying to manifest yourself into. And the only thing I can say to that is the more things that you're trying to bring into your life that are helping you elevate yourself to be that person you need to be, I can only commend that, because that's not easy. It's not a walk in the park, and it's a thankless task. No one gives you any trophies for that. It's almost expected. And that's the bit that's thankless. Once it's all said and done and you've tidied up all the toys and you've got a glass of wine, there's no one there going,
well done,
good job,
nice
well
one.
done.
I usually find you're doing right actually when everyone's against you. That's not a good way to gauge it, but generally when you're doing right, when you think I think I've actually got it right now, is when you have the most friction. This is a little unusual, people giving me nice words, other than maybe my parents, but they always give me nice words. They always say nice things. So
can we get a little love in the chat room for Mr. Noel Harry Watson?
I want some love, people.
Can we get a little love
I wasn't
for Noel
fishing,
Harry
but thank you.
No, we know you weren't fishing, dude. Absolutely, we know you weren't fishing. That's the whole point.
No,
we know you weren't fishing.
Keep it real.
You need some recognition, dude.
Please,
because you're not somebody that.
For you to accept them on Instagram, there's a queue of people.
Yes, there is a queue. My mate Astro King.
Accept me, please. You might have
Astro King's been on at me.
Get into that description, click that link, and go. If you have not got yourself an Instagram account, go and set one up. Go and add me, go and add 007, add Dolly Daydream, go and look at our subscriptions on there, go and look at all the people that we follow, familiarize yourself, follow some things, go and have a look at some different things. If you are being, told to stay at home, if you
make the most of it while it's still here.
Make the most of it while it's here. Real talk. Nice one, bro. So yeah, add up Noel Harry Watson. He's subscribed to a ton of people. So are my doubles on there as well. Janine's on there as well. We're all associated with people that are prolific posters on there. And you know what? You're going to see some things on there that you won't see on Facebook. You're going to see some things on there you won't see on YouTube. Some of the things you might see on there, you might go, wow, I've not come across that. Or you have in a different way. Martin Leaker's on there. If you follow Martin Leaker on YouTube, he's on there. There's loads of people on YouTube that are on Instagram. It's a different world. It's a different place, but it's good. It's good. So shout out to everyone in the chat room. I can see the chat room moving quickly. I've got 138 on my screen. I can't thank you all enough for rolling with us tonight. We have been really Woke Reports live. We've got a few other things to get into tonight. One Walking Life, Jane Torquay, Alfie Patchin, Astral Thief, Kathleen O'Donnell, Ian Adams, Miss Q, Donna Landrum, First Munch. Shout out to all of you. Luke Kennedy, UK22, Colin Turner, Vertec, Local Experimentalist, Maggie Ray. Shout out to you as well. Alex A.
Shall we?
Alfie Patchin, John Watson. Yeah, we've got a stack of people, bro. Pat Riot.
Yeah.
All of you. Massive love. Look at all these interactions they're having. You know what?
And I think we've got some in my chat room as well, Rox. I think we've got a few in my chat room as well. We've got about 13.
Steve Bally as well. Mike Hughes, 1875. Jess Ems. Steve Kelvin Currens as well. Lovely to see you. It's brilliant seeing new names in the chat room. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't done so already, hit like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification, look in the description, see all the links in there for the channels. Go and click them. Go and subscribe to them. Anyone I've missed? Please shout out in the chat room if I have missed you. James Aldridge.
Catherine O'Connell, Miss Q, Ms. There's Miss and Ms. Q, I think, in the I think I've got Miss Q in mine and you've got Ms. Q in yours.
I'm gonna just have a little look at that, Colin Turner. Let me just do that. And how do I get into that? That's really good. Let me just go in. It's not giving me very many options there, Colin. So let me do that on my phone.
And to the people that haven't signed in as well, you guys that haven't signed in, you're all watching, thank you very much for being here.
Yes.
Especially the ones that are regulars, that don't have a subscription and don't have their thing popping up. You know, they're just coming in every day to see what's going on. They're just keeping up. Those people are awesome. Camera's on you, Rox.
Yep, no worries. Sorry, it's on me for a reason. Sorry, guys. Yeah, this is the video we're talking about.
This is literally where I live. What's going on? Brother Elijah, his mate Reese is in the army. He's run up this morning. He said they've had a big briefing.
I played you that yesterday.
He said one day this week the country is 100 million% going into lockdown, and he's been told he's got to go.
As we said, yeah. Colin, I played that already, my darling, the voice note, but thank you so much for popping that into the chat. Appreciated, my darling. Raymond B as well, Alfie Patchin, Ian Adams, Alex A, Riddle Me This, Christopher Lees as well. What up? What did I do? What did I say? What didn't I do? Did I miss something out, guys? What did I do? No? Did I miss something? No?
Again, a shout out to my friend Olga Lubar, who is blocked by YouTube but watching.
Oh, nice one. Nice one. Yeah, tanks and army. Normal in your area, you're near bases as well. Big up the silent majority. Shout out to you lot. And to anyone I've missed, I will try and get back into the chat room and get to you really shortly.
Shout out to Kay if you're watching.
Yeah, shout out to Kay as well. Alex A, the link was just shared by Colin Turner that I just played. So if you just scroll up the chat and look at Colin Turner's link, the YouTube link is there for the video that I just played there on my phone. Anyone else in the chat room asking anything that I've missed?
What I was going to say, Rox.
Go for it.
What I was going to say was for the benefit of viewers and stuff. I don't know, like we talked about doing 2 streams tonight. So
yes.
Would you want when should we split it, do you think? And do we take a break in between, or should we just shut one down and start a new one up?
I think we should take
how should we do it?
I think we should take
a tea break, a coffee break. Coffee break.
Noel, could you do with a little 10-minute break? I could do with a little 10-minute break, because what we should do is we should finish.
I could, but your guys' 10-minute breaks are usually 2.5 hours long.
No. I literally want to get straight into watching something, guys. I want to get into some rabbit holes, guys, and we do need a bit of a distraction. So while we are, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Did you probably put a video on?
Don't you go anywhere.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to set up the next stream while you talk. So you just stay there, chat away. and I'll be back in a minute.
Has she left us on the spot?
Did you see how serious Rich's face went?
Bro, I was like, oh, shit.
I just saw the two of us come out. I was like, not again.
And goodbye.
Oh, man.
Okay.
She's funny. You're funny.
I'm just going to go and set up the stream now. You guys will be all right. Talk to the chat room. Nice up yourselves. And do you know what we're going to go and watch? Because I've got an idea of what I want to show everyone. So you chat to everyone. And
hi, hello.
I'm going to set up the chat room. I'm going to set up the stream.
Can we have an interview with Stephen Hawkins again?
Yeah,
yes.
go for it.
For
Stephen.
many years I have wondered about the secrets of the universe.
That actually sounds like that guy. There's a guy that has got a YouTube channel. Sounds just like that.
Just like what?
This channel sounds just like that other one, the other one that you did just before. It sounded just like that, man. I can't remember what he's called.
Hello, how are you? It's very hard to get the intonation of a voice using a theta. Hi, hello, I am a giant called Steve. How are ye? I'm from Belfast. Hello, how are ye?
Was that a Belfast accent? I don't know if that was a very good Belfast accent, man.
You can't do it.
I can do a Belfast accent myself, but I can't really do it through this controller thing here.
Ah, see, that's not bad.
Hello. Hi. Shall we play a game?
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm gonna have a little look in the chat room, man. See what people are saying. Because we're sat here playing silly buggers. See if you've got anybody still in it. Can you beatbox? Yeah. No, Harry Watson. No, Harry Watson. Stop showing us your nipple. My girlfriend is getting jealous.
My nipples are not out.
That's from Raymond.
My nipples are not out, are they? I don't see nipples, so I don't know what you're seeing. Wait, no.
I think it was when you were on your side.
All right. That sounds wrong. Anyway, wait, let me check my little board of things that we were going to say that didn't. Yes.
Fighting a virus with a tank round.
Have you ever seen Idiocracy?
Idiocracy.
A film by, I forget his name, the same guy who did Beavis and Butthead, and King of the Hill, and that program about Silicon Valley, also. What's his name? Mike Hedges? Is that his name?
Mike Hedges, I think. Yeah.
Anyway, he did this film called Idiocracy, which was about America in, I don't know, I'm going to make up the year. Let's say it's the year 2200, and everyone's retarded basically because only dumb people have babies, and lack of intelligence is encouraged, and we're working towards automation to replace intelligence. And it was sort of on point. But if do you watch Black Pill? Do you subscribe to Black Pill on YouTube? Is anyone in the chat room subscribed to Black Pill? You should be. He's also excellent. Devon Stack, I believe his name is, and does very nice video essays. Nice maybe isn't the right word. Articulate and intelligent video essays about propaganda in movies. Like he did a really good one on the film Smallville, which is fantastic. It's very much about let's see, sodomizing the biblical prophecy. Black Pill, Devon Stack, yeah.
I'm glad
this guy.
I'm glad you brought it up. I really like his channel.
Can't see your computer,
from
but
here,
it's
Rich.
called Black Pill.
No,
and
but if
it
it's
says
called
Devon
Black
Stack
Pill,
thing.
It's cool. Yeah.
that'll be it.
That's probably it.
Yeah. Okay.
Looks like
so
it
I've
might
set
be
up the stream. Go to the link that I've just shared with everybody in the chat room. You'll see me. I've just shared a link. Sorry, just excuse my dog and his idiotic self. I've shared the link. The chat room's there, ready and waiting for you. It's the really wokes. Chill out.
I just translated what your dog said. You'll never believe what it was.
What was it?
He said Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, Kenny, come here. Good boy. Come here. Come here. You come here. Well done. So Kenny said he wants to go into some rabbit holes tonight. He wants a little bit of a distraction because this corona madness is a bit of a madness. Obviously, whether you believe in the coronavirus or not, it seems apparent that the lockdown is coming for us all. So we may as
The
well
lockdown's here.
We may as well just get comfortable and have a little bit of escapism. So go and click that link right now. I want you to go and click that link right now or in 5 minutes. The stream will start in 15 minutes. We are leaving this studio now and going into the next studio for the next stream. We will be in the next chat room. The link is right there for you. Just scroll up a little bit. Press the link. We'll be live in 15 minutes to share the screen and go into some rabbit holes. We can all have a hot drink, get tucked up together and escape this craziness of corona madness.
Maybe I'll get my guitar out, you know.
Oh, would you?
You wait till you see how much the next studio looks just like this studio.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Are you like really, really tired yet? No.
I have been up since 6, but
how much life?
I haven't exactly gone running today, so
maybe you
not
guys
really,
could give us a little jamming session before we, go.
I was wondering about that, and I honestly don't think I'm guessing that there's probably like half a second delay.
Lag.
If you've ever tried to play a gig from opposite ends of a room, it's kind of impossible.
Okay.
Maybe if one person's just sustaining a chord and the other person's riffing over it, you can do that.
Okay.
But as far as being in time is concerned, that's...
Yeah. So
what you could do is it could be a really basic chord progression and you just sustain on each chord for at least 2 bars and then jam over the top of it.
That's how they were selling 5G over here. That was the advertising campaign. It was one of the local bands performing live via 5G with no delay and real-time interaction. That was how they were selling it in Malta, one of the countries where we are infected.
Yeah, see it
allegedly.
There? I'm sharing it in the chat room for you all again. Look, go and click that link in the chat room. I want to see all of those numbers disappear.
And Vodafone's logo is well, they're another one of those 666 companies. If you haven't noticed yet.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sharing the link. You can all go over there now. We're gonna wrap up this stream, and those of you that want to roll on through, we'll be starting the next stream in just under 15 minutes from now for the Really Woke Chill Out.
It's streaming on both channels again. It'll be streaming on both channels, so.
We really want you to join us, so you've got enough time to go and slip into something comfortable, stick the kettle on, get yourself nice tucked up, come on over and join us, and we're going to jump into a few rabbit holes, and we'll all get a bit of escapism so we can go to bed nice and relaxed, or chill out for the evening, nice and relaxed, depending on where you are on this international plane. Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in to us tonight. This has been Really Woke Reports Live, and to all of you, and I'll give you a last shout out now, Colin Turner, Ian Adams, Mighty Adam, Russell Red, Astral Thief, we've got Tree Poet as well, we've got Jane of Torquay, Maggie Ray, John Watson, Miss Q, Alfie Patching, Metty Bubble B, Luke Kennedy, Raymond B, Jesse Ems, One Walking Life, Riddle Me This, Pat Riot, the Christopher Lees, Ute, How About Now, My View, 1875. Further up the list, we've got True Seeker, Arwin, First Munch, Vertec, and who else? Hope I haven't missed anybody. If I have, jump into the chat room now before I scroll down to the bottom. Who else? Martin Leedker's in there as well. Awesome. John Watson as well. I'm going to go back down to the bottom there. Jane of Torquay, Steve Bally as well. And who else is in the chat room? I don't want to miss anyone out this time, I really don't. So I'm just going to keep making sure I've got absolutely everybody. Ian Mattison as well. Shout out to you, my darling. Thank you so much for all of the interactions in the chat room this evening. And Silent Major, Big Brother as well. Arwin as well. Lovely. Thank you all so much. We will be live again in about 10-15 minutes time for the Really Woke Chill Out. Click that link, like I said, and we shall see you soon.